Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 13th of July 2013. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Hi-oh, Dine.
And Zachary Burgess.
Jesus Christ, it's hot.
Yeah, it's pretty well.
It's the second Saladcast in a row where it's been the hottest day of the year.
Yeah, it's just more hotter.
That's true. That's generally, on average, true for the first half of the year, isn't it? I mean, there's been probably quite a few Saladcasts before now that have been the hottest day of the year.
Perhaps we should do that next year. At the start of every episode, starting from January, it's just the hottest day of the year.
Do you think this record for this year will be beaten, though? Where are we? 30 degrees? 29?
Yeah, 29.
We can beat that. Come on!
Today.
Go for the burn.
Go for the burn. We did get over 30 last year. So
yeah.
A couple of points.
Go for the burn. No pain, no gain. No socks, no shoes.
That's why I'm going to take my socks.
No hair, no hairdo.
That was my mum's advice whenever I got hot. It was always take socks off.
Well,
regardless of the situation, it's take your socks off.
It's good advice for cooling, bad advice for
smell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or general socialness.
And, depending on how gross your carpets are.
That's true.
You might not want to walk around.
They had, tips on the BBC News website. How to keep cool and shit.
Sit in a fridge.
Simply to stop people dying. I don't know.
Yep.
They said put your hands in cold water because your hands have lots of surface area, which makes sense.
I guess, yeah. But then
you can't do anything else.
It's hands in cold water.
But then you don't have a lot of circulation in your fingers, really, do you?
Well,
we don't, with our terrible circulation.
I guess.
Really? You'd think we'd have blood flowing to the fingers for maximum dexterity
no, it's all
and
my
shit.
thumbs.
Oh, right, yeah. When you're playing extended
the ridiculous thumb muscles that you grow as a gamer.
Street Fighter of
I think it's less to do with what's actually going on. The thing is, it's everything leading up to that. It's more of the problem.
Do you think?
Probably. Because it's fingers might be moving all the time, but this bit is almost entirely stationary. All up the arm.
Depends on your mouse sensitivity setting, really, doesn't it? If you're frantically doing this with your mouse,
one
windmills. Yeah,
well, they always used to say, when you're doing swimming lessons, and you'd have one of those survival lessons or something, that position you're supposed to be in. They always used to say that you have to keep your feet out of the water because your feet are supposed to be pretty good for heat retention and/or loss.
That's fucking
what?
possible.
If you're in the Atlantic or something, you're supposed to keep your feet out
of the water. Yeah, well, if you've got stuff
insane.
to hold on to, you're supposed to lean it so your feet are out.
I guess that makes sense.
I don't know how much truth there is in that, or if that's just if you believe it, it will be true, kind of.
Yeah, I think your parents told you to take off your socks.
Yeah, always.
I think my parents.
No matter the situation, if I was in trouble,
whenever, not even for any reason, just take your socks off.
Take your socks off.
I think my dad claimed that our legs are like elephants' ears, and that they're heat radiators. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense as any part of your body.
Yeah.
All of you are like already.
Yeah, but it's kind of dedicated, the elephant's ears. Otherwise, they'd have small ears.
Yeah, kind of.
So we don't really have dedicated radiators. They're multi-purpose. They're also used for walking and running and shit. And kicking dudes in the face.
Sorry, I think I missed a sentence there somewhere. It was
human legs.
Okay, right. The ears are multi-purpose, walking and running.
No, elephants' ears. What do they do? I guess. Do you think they need that giant surface area to collect sound waves? Probably not. They're probably not very good at that.
No.
Except for the middle.
Because if that were true, then the African elephants would be able to hear for longer distances than the Indian elephants.
True.
Has that ever been tested?
This is a very good question. Let's go do it now.
Yeah.
Let's go find an elephant.
Well, I don't know, because there's more jungle in the Indias. It's probably harder to hear far anyway. Compared to
maybe
bush.
It's not as important.
Bush, not bush. That's Australia. What's it? Brush? Is it called bush? No.
Bush.
Savannah.
Yeah. That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do.
I guess. Yeah, maybe that's why they're smaller, maybe, because it's... Well, if it is just heat, then I guess Africa is hotter as well, therefore they're bigger.
Yeah. It's all pretty hot.
It's all
in the
hot.
jungle, you get bonus evaporation.
That's true. It's wetter, so you get more relief.
Not that, the humidity would be super high, so that actually doesn't cause that much evaporation in itself.
Yeah. Don't know.
This week on Saladcast, elephant ignorance.
Oh, did you see that terrible, the most recent Attenborough doc with the elephants in the drought, where they were walking through dust and trying to eat really,
I do
just
now.
like roots and stuff. It was terrible.
Was this in the Africa show?
Yeah. That's it. Africa. That's what it was called.
Africa.
That's pretty good. And then they had filming giraffes fighting each other by whacking their necks against each other.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty cool.
That looks bonkers.
Oh, it's freaking dangerous.
Ooh, dog. Broke my neck. Having a neck fight.
You think it'd be more effective to like swing your neck at their legs and just make them fall over?
Yeah.
Because they have such spindly legs as well.
That's true.
But just take them
They're
out.
probably more solid than each other's necks is the problem. So like, if you hit it at the wrong angle, your neck would just go.
If you broke their leg, they'd be fucked.
Yeah, that would be a good tactic because they can bend down that far to drink water, right? So all you need to do is like splay out like you're going to take a drink and then go whack and knock the other guy's legs out.
You have such a long way to fall.
Yeah, that's true.
You wouldn't be able to do it quickly though, would you, I guess? You wouldn't be able to surprise your opponent with that.
No, it'd be quite easy to see it coming. But I don't know what they'd be able to do. Like they wouldn't be able to jump it, presumably.
They don't.
You're doing like hopscotch with giraffe necks.
Well, they'd also have to get down. And then you're just having a sitting down neck fight.
That would probably be the safest tactic.
Yeah, maybe.
Not very dramatic, but yeah.
Even just in the normal neck fight, if you sat down, it'd be like the other guy. That'd be like the other guy would have to sit down because otherwise they wouldn't be able to hit each other.
That's true. It's not fair. Code of honour. You're supposed to stand up.
Oh, come on, man. This isn't fun. Giraffes.
Giraffes. Are there any giraffe-based games? Plenty of llama-based games.
Space giraffe.
Well, yeah, all the ones that are like the lava games apart from giraffes.
Of giraffe.
Basically stuff by Jed Minter.
Has he made lots of giraffe games as well?
Well, he made Space Giraffe.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, clearly. But none involving neck combat.
It's probably giraffe
Space neck combat.
content in Tokyo Jungle. Giraffe-based combat. Perhaps there is neck swinging in that. Perhaps this has been video game immortalised.
Maybe.
That seems like it could make a stupid Flash game, but not much more.
But maybe there's a version of Bloody Roar in it somewhere, where someone just turns into a giraffe. And that's their attack, and they just go whoosh with their head.
That's your onomatopoeia for a giraffe
For
neck attack.
Flying head. Yeah, flying giraffe head. Whoosh.
Wash out.
Because that's probably, I don't know, that's probably more appropriate than a whoosh, because I don't know if I hear many things go whoosh. It's like, they're more, like, I don't know, angry sounding. Whoosh! Which is meaning? Alright.
Oh no! Did you see that terrible when somebody wrote something on a teleprompter for that air crash in San Francisco?
Right.
Of the who was the airline? Was Korean or something?
Yeah.
Was it Thai?
Or Thai? Oh, was it Thai?
It might have been Thai.
Okay, they made up Asian names for the
what?
pronouncer for the air crew to get the anchor, news anchor.
Things?
No, it was like Captain Wee Too Low, Holy Fuck, Bang Ting Ow, something like that. So it was in sequence. It was really evil. I know.
Shit.
Terrible.
Okay, there are places for jokes like that.
Yeah,
That is not one of them.
exactly. I think, well,
That's
obviously they got fired, presumably,
Yeah.
but still, I mean...
Or was that before they knew anyone had actually died? Because it seemed like everyone got out okay, but then it was like, oh no, actually two people died.
A couple of students.
No, I think, well, I don't know if the writer knew, but in the report that, just before she said those things, she was talking about the Chinese, whether or not one of them had died before she got run over by a truck.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's freaking harsh, that is. Boo earned.
Time and place for jokes, not there.
Yeah, that is really bad. I wonder if they, like, there was one of those things that someone put into the script, there's like, alright, that's fine, we'll put these in when we know the actual names.
What, you think?
Because no one will read these out, right?
It was a bit of a Ron Burgundy moment.
Yeah.
Although...
I did see the first episode of The Newsroom.
Oh, did you?
It's really good.
Seriously?
It's really good.
I heard it was like quite preachy and
maybe
Sorkin-y.
a little bit. It's like, hey, the news should be awesome. I guess,
Yeah,
this is it is trying to be like what if the news was actually a slightly less soul-sucking thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
I bet the storylines they pick in the series going forward are ones that aren't like, I don't know, paparazzi-ish or
something like real stories from 6 months ago or something.
This was the first episode is set just as the company that focuses on, which I think is made up.
Yeah.
Basically gets the scoop on the oil rig.
Oh, right.
Leak.
Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah. Gets the scoop. And runs it a day before everyone else does, or a show before everyone else does.
Right.
So they're concentrating
Doesn't make
on
any sense.
Well, no, because they didn't know about the leak. There was the big fire, wasn't there? And it's like they were basically set, and there was a rescue effort going on. But BP were trying to bury the fact that there was a leak for a while, supposedly, according to the newsroom.
According to this random show. I haven't heard much about the newsroom since it launched. Like, it must be still on, right? I mean, is it season 2 or something by now, you'd think?
I guess. But yeah, anyway, the first episode opinion, I really liked it.
Oh, that's cool. Do you ever see any Aaron Sorkin stuff before, like The West Wing and shit?
No.
Okay.
But I saw the odd episode here and there, but it wasn't really something you could really do with West Wing, I suppose, was to just dip in.
Well, not really.
But the intro is The West Wing. It's like... no, it's all that over-patriotic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's,
yeah. Do they do a lot of walking down corridors, talking to each other?
No, actually, most of the first episode is all just standing around in the office.
Okay.
It's like...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Men stand around.
Men standing in the office. And it's also got Alison Pill in it, who was the drummer from Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
she was quite good in there.
Yeah.
What else has she been in?
Don't know. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't know. The newsroom.
Okay. I'll check that out.
Speaking of which, news! Seamless.
Video game news. Well, should we start with the tributes?
Start where you want.
We should
The
probably
other bad
talk
thing that
about
happened in San Francisco.
the terrible thing that happened this week. Ryan Davis of Giant Bomb, our inspiration in many ways.
Yeah, definitely.
Passed away last week.
It'd be a lie to say that the format of this show wasn't somewhat based on his...
I think it's
severely, in fact. And the number of times we say, they said on the podcast.
On the podcast.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, this entire podcast thing is not just down to Giant Bomb, but down to Ryan Davis, I think.
And the way he presented it.
And the way he presented it has been, the reason why I thought, we could do this. I don't think without him...
I think he made it look easy.
Yeah, he did.
And then we try and do it, and it's not that easy to keep the shit together.
I mean, I sort of try and do his job, but not nearly as well as he does. But he won't be... Yeah, there won't be Tuesday again, ever.
Well, I don't know. Do you reckon they'll do that? Do you reckon they'll shift to Wednesdays? Just
for that reason.
They could do. Yeah. But, very sad news. And
it royally sucks.
Yeah.
It really does.
And but there's been a whole outpouring of...
it's been pretty good. They were saying that there's only, been about a very, very low percentage of assholes.
I haven't seen a single one.
I've seen one.
It depends what site you go to.
Yeah.
IGN was a bit shitty.
Oh, well, whatever.
Oh, I suppose there's other gaming sites maybe. But I saw one comment that was a bit below the belt. To do with his size. And it's we don't actually know, they haven't told us why he died. And it's that's not something we need to know necessarily, but that's not something you should really make jokes about, is it?
Well, I don't know, it's kind of the problem of that one situation of, if you're not going to say, then everyone's going to make that assumption, because that seems like the obvious answer.
Yeah, sure. But you don't have to be a dick about it.
Well,
no.
But then there was people, I think that was one of what I made in, the IGN thread, where were they actually being dicks, or was this just you can't interpret their sarcasm or whatever on the internet? In which case, don't be sarcastic in that comment, for God's sake.
Well, unless you hashtag sarcasm or something. But
yeah, even so. Yeah, it was top of Reddit for like 2 days, which is quite unusual.
Right, it's,
and there was nothing but love for him.
In a way, I've been more surprised by actually just how other media outlets have been cottoning onto this, and like
really dumb in some cases.
Yeah, that like
weird
TMZ
celebrity
style.
magazines and stuff. It's like,
just Ryan Davis.
did you
count as
know
a
who this
celebrity,
person was at
really?
all?
It's true he would have thought that was hilarious, though. So
yeah.
it's kind of worth it. But yeah.
I did go back and watch a lot of the tribute stuff or the clips and best of stuff that people have been posting. It's all genius.
Yeah. It's
He's
true
a very funny guy.
he was the funniest, like most consistently funny. Like it's
I
true
guess,
that Jeff is like
Well, Jeff
quite
just
dry.
falls out crazy.
He is a bit more sardonic, isn't he? And so it kind of complemented Ryan's sort of
Jolliness.
Yeah, more jolliness, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, and yeah, he knew what he was doing. His quick looks were the awesomest. So yes, thank you very much, Ryan.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be doing this if not for you.
Yeah, very. Sorry to everyone who was close to him, I guess.
Yeah.
Wish it could have been us. Not dying, but
Not dying.
like that we're close. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. It is.
what I mean.
There's a lot of people saying like on the comments I've seen that commenting on how weird it is that like especially with Giant Bomb, how like you feel like you knew.
Yeah, that is weird.
Like
just how attached to them you think you actually end up being.
Because that podcast is different. It's more personal than television shows or radio broadcasts or something. Cause
well,
I mean,
in their case anyway.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they decided not to do it professionally in any kind of way.
Exactly. Well, he kept it under control
most of the time.
Most of the time.
The bird feeder thing? Is that under control when he's talking about wearing that feeding mask?
That's totally under control. That's significantly less ridiculous than some of the things the other guys talk
Go
about.
feed a hummingbird from my face? I don't know, that's pretty crazy.
You're not talking about like Jeff's stories of like mole bombing raccoons in the storm drain.
Jeez. Yeah. No, I don't mean that like he censored it at all.
No.
We don't do that.
No, of course
he
not.
He wouldn't do
well,
that.
apart from that one time.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
A couple of names you didn't want mentioned.
Yeah, that's fine. But they do that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't not ever censor. Sometimes something happens.
Yeah, exactly. But it was very unfiltered. It was like being like in the room with, well, is still, I guess, but with people that you know almost, which is really strange. Especially if you listen to 2-3 hours of it every week for years and years. Like I used to, when I was living in up north, and I had to get the bus to Stockport to go to the Dole office or whatever to get. I used to go on the bus. It was miserable because it's not the nicest place up north. No, Manchester's nice, but yeah, Stockport's not the best. I would always listen to the Bombcast all the way there and back, and I actually used to look forward to going just because I got to listen to the podcast.
There is a thing about that.
Yeah,
it's like it's nice, making a drive more interesting with Bomb.
Almost slightly too long. It was like when I got that.
It's not long enough, if you ask me. I'd
like it to be longer, of course, but it's too long for the things that I want to do. Because it's like when I got that MP3 player, it was like now I can listen to the podcast and go for a walk. But I can't go for a walk for 3 fucking hours, so I have to like stop and then like now I have to take off my MP3 player and find the right point in the file to continue on my computer instead. When I get home.
I just use my phone, so whenever I'm in the car, I just let it carry on from where I left off.
You don't want to. Well, once I've started, I want to get through it in like one day. I don't want to be like listening to it over several segments.
Oh, I'm okay with that. That's like,
yeah, it depends.
I'm not sure I could do it in a 3-hour sitting. But
it was good for those trips because I would wear it on the bus all the way in, listen to Ryan and.
I've done it on a couple of long drives before. Just put it on and listen to it for the entire lengthy drive. A lot of drives tend to be about 3 hours long that I do.
Yeah, so exactly. That's when it's convenient.
It's almost ideal.
Yeah. It works out well. So we'll have to see when they're back on the air. But
they did one.
They did one, but they're not going to be back for a while, I guess, but they will be back, I'm sure. So
Like, site content has already pretty much stopped, hasn't it?
yeah,
So,
that's fine.
understandable.
It's understandable. It's because the community as well, not just the. That's what's so great about Giant Bomb and stuff. And they were kind of talking in that tribute thing about how they were it was Ryan and Jeff, I guess, but they kind of pioneered this new style. I don't know if no one else really copies it.
I don't know if you could, because it's their thing. If you know, I mean, if someone else came and tried, would it be branded as a copycat? And just
possibly, but just the
like us, would we be branded as a copycat?
Well, we might
fairly obviously.
If we had slightly larger backing and more prominence.
But the concept of like not the rigid reviews based game site, and it's more about the other content and the podcast or the video.
It came out of them wanting to get out of being forced to review pretty much everything, which is the GameSpot way.
Exactly, yeah.
And them just being able to do what they thought was interesting or would be interesting to others.
Because GameSpot and IGN, they were basically just being a magazine like PC Gamer or whatever, but on the internet. And they weren't taking advantage of all the cool stuff you can do on the internet you can't do in a magazine. And that's and Giant Bomb ended up just doing that stuff and it being awesome. Like,
it's weird when I see other sites, like New GameSpot, I suppose, or Modern GameSpot, trying to do some of that bomb element. Like they talk to their staff and they talk to their people. It's like, I don't know who you are, or I don't care who you are. It's like GT do that every now and then, but because they're. But it's almost nice from GT to do it because you don't see anything about their back end stuff any of the time until there's like a discussion point, like E3 or something, or something like that, and then they sort of come out, and it's like they're obviously not presentery types or much speakers, but it's nice to see. Oh, okay, these are the actual guys that are behind GT and stuff like that, and it's like the rarity of it makes it quite nice, I guess. But it's it's when you've got someone like GameSpot trying to be the Bombcast, but with their old goals, I suppose, at the same time. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It feels disingenuous.
It does
and
feel
it's like,
weird.
Not that I think any of the GameSpot guys are bad at what they do. I just don't think that their current thing really pulls off. I think it doesn't really gel with me.
No. I guess they're in the same office as Giant.
Oh yeah, they are. So, which makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
It's like why do they need to compete against each other like that? But or maybe it just naturally rubs off. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like a way forward, doesn't it? In some ways. I mean.
Either way, they are pioneers. If it wasn't for them and whiskey, we might not have got started at all on the website.
No, no, that API has been great. So thanks, site maintainers over at Giant Bomb. Who would that be?
Lexus, isn't it?
I wish they fucking fixed their video players, though.
Really? What's wrong with them?
All the choices are bad, and they're all bad in different ways. It's like streaming and progressive and HTML5, they're all pretty much broken in different ways and equally bad. So the only option is to go to YouTube, which is like, that's a dumb option. Shouldn't you be able to make a video player that works for yourself? Or just rip off YouTube's one?
Yeah. I mean, at one point they were just using YouTube for content and just embedded it. I mean, that's always... That always seems... I mean, why not do that? It's free.
And a lot of stuff ends up on YouTube anyway.
Well, now it does, because they've made it an option, apart from all the subscriber stuff. So it sucks when you want to go back and watch a subscriber stream, and it's like, this is the one thing you can't watch on YouTube, so you have to suffer their video player.
Yeah, I haven't had it be too bad.
It's I don't know what happened, but YouTube seemed to partially fix that weird skipping problem it had for a while in like the last month.
Oh, well, when it does the quality switch.
Yeah, when it quality switches, but then the video and sound...
That has got better. Like, you have that repeating.
Yeah.
Like, it often repeats.
It still does that on Giant Bomb, like, all the time. Yeah, it's like YouTube fixed their version of that problem, but Giant Bomb haven't fixed their one yet, somehow.
Presumably.
I don't know what that is, because it's not like...
It might be Flash.
Well, I guess. But it's not... Because it obviously wasn't to do with the YouTube player, because apparently it somehow started happening on the Giant Bomb versions as well.
That's not an easy thing. I find it what I find interesting about this whole thing about auto quality switching is it was something Microsoft was pushing for ages.
Yeah,
like with Smooth Stream and stuff like that. And it was when it first came out, it's like, this is pretty impressive tech. It's like, why doesn't everyone use this? It's like taken several years for Microsoft to just shut up about it and go, okay, no one wants this. And then everyone else suddenly makes it in their own. It's like, oh, fuck you. This is another example of Microsoft like innovating and everyone else just copying, and let Microsoft are the ones that seem to have not benefited from it. I find I get wound up a little bit about that because Microsoft do innovate a lot of the time, but it doesn't necessarily hit the public mainstream.
Well, sometimes they innovate in places people don't end up caring about, like Silverlight, where it's like, we're going to make this new thing that's clearly better than Flash, but nobody fucking cares.
Yeah,
Flash is already there.
Yeah, that was true. That was a bit of a that was a misstep, but ambitious. But
Yeah.
how do you dislodge the biggest of the big? Something that's on practically every PC.
Well, I guess if you're Microsoft, you do have a huge head start compared to most people in that if you are trying to do that.
Yeah.
But it's still very difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
And they didn't pull it off with Silverlight. But that's cool because both Silverlight and Flash should go away.
Yeah,
And,
ultimately.
Yeah, open web standards are the way forward. So it's going to be a long time before YouTube is all HTML5 or whatever the
Yeah, it still
successor
doesn't
is.
work quite right.
No.
Not-
They've got a new codec, haven't they? Google have for video, which is super, really, really good, like compression ratios and quality. So
MPEG-5 will be turning up before long.
yeah, I can't remember what this one was called. It's better than the H.265 whatever it was.
264.
Yeah, and it's free as well, which is the key thing because they have all this licensing crap, don't they? That's been a problem with H.264. So I think it's open source despite being Google, and they'll put it in Chrome and everything, and they'll use it on YouTube, and it'll just be cooler. Because then just suddenly your videos will take less bandwidth for the same quality, right? I guess.
Well,
just
hopefully,
magically,
yeah.
right?
Normally how it works with new codecs and new improvements like that is that the trade-off will be a higher requirement of CPU power.
Yeah.
So it may not be so great for
Smartphones.
Well, it won't be great for the battery life of your smartphone.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
But it'll be pretty great for your PC.
Cool.
Provided you don't watch videos and play games and stuff at the same time.
Like Dan does.
It might just be take more effort for your system to encode video of that style as well. So it might take longer to actually make videos in that format, perhaps. Maybe, it's all unknowns, but blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's how compression normally works, anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like back in the day when Windows Media Audio was trying to take on MP3. And it's like, in a way, actually, Windows Media Audio was a better format because it was the compression was stronger. You could get more out of it from a lower bit rate than MP3, but it took pretty much twice the computing power to actually decode.
Right.
And of course, before long, the need to have smaller files for music just became an old problem.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you don't have that problem anymore. But video, you're always going to have that. Well, not I say always, but you could go
until we get to a point where someone's like satisfied with video.
Yeah.
So to the point where the world's like, yeah, we've done enough. But that'll never happen. Not well. It may happen, but it's so far away.
Yeah, you need to get to the point where you can losslessly compress 4K video and store a bunch of films on a hard disk, which is way.
And then there'll become a point where someone goes, "Is 4K enough?"
Are there any lossless codecs for video?
I don't know.
Not much you can really do.
I don't know.
There probably are, but they're probably. I mean, ridiculous.
Even FLAC's not that great, is it? In terms of your file sizes are often quite big.
Yeah,
if you're
of course,
using FLAC. But.
Yeah.
They need to continue with that hilarious when they were encoding videos into vectors. Because that's clearly the way forward.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool idea.
I thought that's what they did. Isn't that part of
No, you use vectors to measure motion in video.
Yeah.
So, but what this is you're actually describing the image as vectors.
Oh, what, like SVG? But for every frame.
Yeah.
That's not going to work for... Well, I don't know. Some images are going to be too complex, aren't they? You could easily take a photo or something.
I suppose at that level you're just storing
the pixels
data, I guess, if you need to. But that was the idea anyway, so it could scale to higher resolutions.
Yeah.
Possibly, well, I'm not sure how far you'd go before it would look skank, but you could, in theory, Before it would probably just look like a giant cartoon if you go too far.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But it's an interesting idea. Anyway, we've gone miles off topic, so
Yeah.
Well, that was all part of news, I guess.
Yeah, news.
News!
Other news this week.
Well, we didn't cover Don Matrick leaving Xbox last time, which happened pretty much straight after we recorded the last...
As so often happens with news with us, it's like the one bit of news we need to talk about, it happens immediately after we've already podcasted, and then we have to wait 2 weeks and then forget it.
Well, we've got that. It's a bit weird how he left like a week before the big restructure at Microsoft.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd announce it at the same time.
Well, maybe this was when...
weird.
Well, the rumour is that he was supposedly trying to sort this out with Zynga for quite some time. You know, it wasn't just a sudden, oh shit, Xbox has gone real bad.
No.
I need to bail.
No.
And Zynga were there being, you know, obviously the most evil company in the world going, yes, come to us.
Come to us.
No, he's been trying to work on this for a while, apparently.
I heard he tried to buy Zynga
at one point,
yeah. So anyway, he in some ways, in terms of career, like he's stepping up from product manager to CEO level.
Yeah. Which
is like, cool for his career or whatever. He's going to a company that I think is not
possibly the worst games company. I mean, I would put them above EA in terms of just terrible games.
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of hits, but then they started literally ripping things off, didn't they? Like, was it Zynga that like totally cloned things? Like unashamedly produced the exact same game with their own graphics over it.
You know what? I'm not sure. Maybe not.
Yeah,
they tend to
like the Tower game,
or was it OMG Pop or something?
No, OMG Pop was one that they bought.
Yeah, they bought OMG Pop
because they decided not to just clone that,
and then they bought the With Friends guys, Words with Friends, and now they just use With Friends on
everything.
Oh, I see, as their brand. Yeah, they seem. Yeah,
they buy a lot of companies. They just absorb them.
And they did well out of it. Was quite funny seeing their stock price the day that Facebook floated, because everyone had invested in them as a proxy because that you couldn't invest in Facebook because it wasn't public, but because Zynga's success was tied to Facebook, that was a way of investing in Facebook.
Oh, interesting.
So the moment they floated, that everyone dumped their Zynga stock and went into actual Facebook stock, which was pretty hilarious. And now, like, when was the last time you saw, what was it, Farmville, or like pop up on your
newsfeed?
I
saw Farmville 2 come up the other day.
Farmville 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. God damn it. But they're just non-game games, and it's like, and I say that from someone who played Tiny Tower for way too long, because that is a non-game game either. It's like, their games are trying to reward you for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Essentially doing something that is basically click, do here. And it's like, they're not rewards. There is no reward other than the numbers go up. But maybe that's the same as RPGs. I don't know. I'm torn.
Is that the same as Animal Crossing?
I guess. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. Is my opinion. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Animal Crossing has more soul, I suppose.
Well, I agree.
The art is all consistent, and
the idea is
characters talk with consistency, and
the idea is that the numbers go up, but you're also doing something. It's not just clicking.
Clicking, yeah.
Yes.
But it's the same as a Tamagotchi, isn't it? That's what it is. You're just clicking. It's just a tending a garden type deal, isn't it? Like.
But then, by that scale, I wouldn't put Viva Pinata in there either, because that's more of a.
But that has mechanics as well.
Yeah.
That has stuff to do. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you enjoy Farmville, good luck to you. Whatever, do what you want to do. But I
don't see what there is to enjoy there. It's like the problem is, I think people who enjoy Farmville, I think, are probably the type that haven't had exposure to a proper good game. If you know what I mean.
Possibly.
If you took them and showed them like SimCity 4, maybe.
That might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it's like, what is the next step up from Farmville, though? What's the next game up the line?
Something.
Theme Hospital.
Well, yeah, I guess. No, Theme Hospital's too complicated management as well.
SimCity 2000?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Go back in time? SimCity Social?
No, apparently that was terrible.
I don't know. I never played that.
And then it got shut down.
What about strategy games, like something like Civ Rev or...
that's a step too far as well, because I
Rev's quite simple on iOS.
I've actually tested this because a friend, someone I was working with, wanted a game for his wife to play, and she liked these turn-based things. I think stuff like fun, and I suggested Civ Rev, and he tried it out, but it was too much for he liked it.
Okay, what about sort of board games then, like Carcassonne or
That's what I would go for. Something
or
like
Outwitters.
Yeah.
Outwitters is pretty sweet for that. Simple mechanics.
The thing is that I think one of the things there is that Farmville isn't competitive, which is most games are.
I guess, yeah.
And like that appeals to some
There is no
people.
lose state.
You can't lose, and all you can do is boast that you've found a cow in your field or something. I don't know. Whereas if you're playing Risk or something, you can screw it up.
I think it could be possible for them to make a simplified version of Viva Pinata and it work, because there is no lose state in that, is there? There's only progression through exploration in that, and it's
Well, apart from that was the one major problem that like the original Viva Pinata has, was like the way that the whole idea was you were meant to get through this progression, then you had to do increasingly ridiculous things to attract increasingly ridiculous others, but then some bastard would just come and fuck you up.
well, yeah,
Because that was the one mechanic that screwed that whole game up, was to have the evil bastards who would just come in and fuck your shit up, and there was not really anything you could do to stop them.
That would be really annoying. Yeah. You know, if they just perhaps if they got rid of that. The problem was Viva Pinata was actually quite complex.
Yeah,
there was and on a console, I'm not sure those controls work so great.
Can you just stick that on iPad and have that be a success?
Yeah, probably. I reckon you could.
I think Rare could make quite a few good iPad games.
Well, it depends what Rare.
Because they're owned by Microsoft, so it's the last thing that they would do.
I question who Rare is anymore.
Yeah, well, who knows?
Because it's not even really Rare that's working on the new Killer Instinct. It's Rare and someone else, and it's like this someone else is probably doing all the work.
Mysterious place.
So I wonder what Don's going to bring to Zynga, in the sense that is he going to bring them out of the evil, or is he just like, hey, they're evil, I like this?
We'll see. We shall see.
Because he was a game designer first and foremost. That was how he rose through the ranks. He started as a game designer, so he must have a love for this stuff. So perhaps if he takes control of Zynga, there will be a return to making games.
So what games is Don Matrick responsible for?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know that off the top of my head, but he did some stuff when he was like 17 or something and made $1 million off his first game or something, and then
I see. Ended up on the management track at Microsoft.
Yep.
So now, it's not just games. Everything's been rearranged at Microsoft. Just think about it.
Have they announced who actually has taken over Xbox division?
Yeah, it's the former head of the Windows division, lady, Asian American lady. Can't remember her name.
I know who you mean, but again, can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
I'm not sure about that, because Windows hasn't exactly gone in a. Never seems to have the right public opinion of it, does it? Of late. Yeah. So I don't know. Is that?
It's not really. I mean, it's like they tried their best, didn't they? They kind of. I think they meant well. They just kind of.
I don't mind the PR direction of Windows. I think it's quite good, but
it just didn't quite gauge it quite right. But I think there was a lady in charge of the hardware as well. Because they've got new divisions for everything. Like there's an engineering division, there's a hardware and devices division and stuff. So I don't know if that means there is no longer WinDiv and DevDiv, the classic warring parties of Microsoft.
And OffDiv, I guess.
Yeah.
They have a big one.
Yeah. So we shall see.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know if they'll expand their devices beyond Xbox Plus Surface. Guess that's the main ones. What else do they make? Well, peripherals. But I mean,
bring back the Zune.
Bring the Zune back. Yeah. Don't know. I mean,
the X-Pod. They'll make a.
Yeah, it's Xbox Music, isn't it?
Yeah, the X-Pod.
I mean, presumably the Surface will have successors. iPads, and the iPad refreshes like every year, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, who knows what will happen with the Surface, given its sales and stuff. Whether they'll make a new RT version.
I think they, maybe. I wonder if Microsoft will drop RT and just stick with this Pro form, because I wonder, or maybe because unless they've got some way to go for making RT work, and maybe the direction that is to drop desktop, like completely from RT.
Oh, I see.
Because you have that weird hybrid desktop that's it's like Windows, but you can't do much with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't really appeal to me.
Maybe that's where Blue or Windows 8.1 will go, because apparently a lot of the stuff that's in Windows UI that isn't in modern UI has been rectified and you can pretty much do everything now from modern UI if you want to.
Right.
Like in terms of setting up your system and diagnosing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot more modern UI stuff that's essential. So maybe that's the direction they need to take. If you're going to go down that road, don't go desktop. That's what the Pro's for.
Pro seems cool. Anyway,
we talked about that before.
Don Matrick. What do you think of that, then, Zig?
I don't care.
You don't care?
Oh, no,
of course, you don't care about either Zynga or Xbox or Microsoft, really.
No.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Awesome. Does this affect the PC in any way? No. I am worried by the occasional...
Well, apart from the Windows person going into the Xbox version, I guess that technically moves something around in the Windows half. Not that I care about Windows that much.
I care about Windows. Well, the thing that worries me about Windows is I saw some tweets reassuring people that Titanfall would definitely work on Windows 7. And it's like, what games are not going to work on Windows 7?
Yeah,
unless they start doing a Vista thing like Halo. It only works on Vista, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
My Vista.
Well, Microsoft did try and pull the DX12 thing, didn't they? That DX12 only runs on 8. On Windows 8.
Shit.
But nothing uses DX12 exclusively.
Yeah.
Barely anything uses DX11, really.
That's going to piss off Valve as well if they start
I don't think they'll do that again, because I think that's just cost them bad PR every time they've tried it. And they've tried it a lot of times now.
Yeah. Oh man, I watched the gameplay video again of Destiny and Titanfall, and Titanfall looks so much fun.
It does. It does
look like fun.
It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. And the Destiny video, people definitely don't talk like that when they play games.
No.
It's ridiculous. Anyway.
It's a little too... I don't know, maybe they do. Maybe this is a marketplace we don't know about. Maybe this is Americans.
I don't know. We know what they sound like 14-year-old
Well, yeah,
boys.
when you play Xbox Live against randoms,
Yeah. That's why I didn't really understand your, I knew where you were coming from when we were talking about Titanfall, and you were saying the community will be on Xbox One. But, in terms of us playing, what is the community? Because you do go into random matches on Call of Duty.
Maybe. I see your point. I think, I think the PC version may suffer from drop-off faster than the consoles.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, you can still pretty much play any version of Call of Duty and get match made straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not sure that is possible. Or, I'm not sure, given that TF2 exists and games like that around on PC, which don't seem to suffer any drop-off.
It'd be interesting to see if...
I don't know, that's my only concern with... I think a PC shoot... Gotham City Imposters is a relatively good one. Or Monday Night Combat, these games suffer catastrophic drop-offs.
Yeah.
And it's you can still play Gotham City, but it's there's only a couple other groups going.
Well, what I'm wondering
Blur,
is...
Blur, how good is that game?
That's a different thing there. You're talking about a completely different type of game.
But not necessarily, but it's just, as I say, drop-offs on PC can be more catastrophic, I think was where I was going with that. It's and I would question whether or not the game would be tuned for PC in terms of how it plays.
Oh, I think they... that's
there are some
they do seem
key differences into how a PC versus a console game kind of has to play, which makes Call of Duty on a PC an incredibly different experience from Call of Duty on console. And that's because I don't think they've tuned those. They just play the same, and it makes the feel of the game is very different because of the control scheme.
But on the other hand,
I don't think they do that very often. Actually, BioShock probably isn't tuned or.
Yeah, you need to put in that effort, and a lot of people don't. But one thing that might make it more likely, I don't know, probably not. But Titanfall is the Source engine, which is generally a PC engine.
Yeah, true.
It will work great on console, obviously, but they're probably already mostly. You get a lot for free in terms of PC tuning, control-wise, just from using Source.
Yeah. No, I'd take that on. I'd take a little step back from my stance on.
Yeah. Well, I could see
it was probably a little strong, but
no, it's cool. Because what I'm wondering is because the difference with Titanfall compared to Call of Duty on a modern console is it will have dedicated servers because they're providing a bunch of Azure stuff, which is great because like that's going to be a great experience on console.
Yeah, what hasn't been clear, and even the Titanfall guys themselves aren't entirely sure about, is that when you develop for Xbox One, Microsoft will just kind of give you this stuff. It seems like you don't really have to
worry about
or really pay for it. I think was there isn't much of an overhead to getting that stuff.
I guess,
whereas with the PC version, it was suggested that perhaps they will need to move to a traditional server architecture, and someone has to
pay for the servers.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool if you could...
Like, the Battlefield model, I guess.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
I mean, because we have to have all these dedicated servers. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons for drop-off is not because people don't want to play, but they go on to play Blur or whatever it is, with dedicated servers, and they just aren't available. Whichever one it was. I don't know. Monday Night Combat.
Yeah, Monday Night Combat was all dedicated. So
and then it's like, well, everything's depopulated or there's no servers available for me to play or whatever. And if you could use a similar type of servers, which presumably you will be able to, for the PC version of Titanfall as the console, I don't know how they'll differ. But if you can use that as your like cloud architecture, then it'd be easy for groups to like club together and like run a server for like on that elastic platform without like having to have a rack.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be like Hampshire Heavies and have a box that you rent out from a co-location or whatever, where you could just turn a dial and be like, oh, I want some dedicated servers.
Yeah.
For like 50p a month or something each or something.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Or, maybe that's one of the reasons why the PC version may lag behind, because perhaps they need to make a bit of money off the Xbox One so they can gauge how much they're going to spend on server stuff for the PC version.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Unless Microsoft will, I don't know, cut a deal if they release it as part of games for Windows or on the Windows 8 store or something like that.
Yeah, who knows about that?
It's I think Microsoft will ease up on their policies about how they use Azure, I guess, perhaps, like, in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if, things that want to tag themselves with games for Windows or be available in the Windows 8 store get some of that capability. That could potentially fuck up your ability to get stuff through Steam, though, maybe. But
maybe.
Because, Microsoft need to make a cut.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, at some point, Microsoft could easily, out of nowhere, do an Origin. Like, it could happen one day.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it is the Windows 8 store, isn't it? That's what they want to do with that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's what they want.
Windows 8 store, iOS store, it's all the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, apart from the relative success of those things, that's the thing, isn't it? App Store, phenomenally successful. So is Steam. Windows 8 store, not so much currently.
I don't think people see the point yet.
Yeah.
Of why. It's like a lot of Mac users, I suppose.
Because the Mac has that Mac store.
Mac has a
thing.
Mac App Store.
Yeah, I don't know how used that is.
Well, a lot of products have been moving to a purely digital distribution model now. So
that's fine.
And the only way to do that is through the App Store. So
that's fine.
On Mac. But everything will go that direction eventually. It's because like most Windows apps that you actually want to use are for Windows desktop.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they can't be done. Well, I'm not sure if they can even be done in the Windows 8 store. I don't know.
And so many rich apps are moving to web apps now for like general stuff that like.
Because it's becoming less and less likely that you're going to buy just an app for your PC, isn't it?
Yeah. When was the last time you did that? I don't know.
Good question.
I got work to buy me Sublime Text for work. That was like $30 or something. But I could have used that for free if I just ignored the bloody pop-ups.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I do end up just using free software most of the time. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Notepad++ I use at work. Well, these are just work stuff, I guess. But
I think the last thing I bought was MRC Stats.
Oh yeah,
to analyse my log files.
Oh, cool.
And make fancy graphs.
Awesome. Is that cool then? Does it make web pages?
Yeah, it makes HTML files so you can just upload them to a server and have real stats with pointless stat tracking for everyone. And like, here's the last 10 lines that you said, and here's how many words you speak on average per day.
Whoa,
that's not so cool any longer now because now IRC's well quiet, so it's always irrelevant.
Oh, what happened?
Well, things happened. People split and moved on. But during the heyday of that IRC channel, when there was millions of lines, and I was the highest typing person.
You type the most?
Yeah, it was weird to think that I was the most ridiculously typing person back in that time.
That is a bit weird, because you don't generally
Type ever or
say
anything like
much.
that.
Yeah.
It's because I got it all out of my system. It was like there was like a couple of years where I was saying everything, and then it's done.
Right, now
I've said everything.
your work on this earth is done.
But so now you're holding it back, and then a couple of years maybe there'll be another purge.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I talk about now is Eve, because
I
there's
guess.
nowhere else I can talk about Eve.
That's your crew.
Apart from here, where we're like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's at least like one or two people in IRC who still know what I'm talking about.
IRC is more social than Facebook.
Yeah,
It's a pre-web technology, isn't it? It's still more awesome than for keeping up, talking to people or keeping up relationships.
I never really got into it, but I know several people who do. And they just stick with it religiously. So
Yeah, strange. Have they shut down MSN now? Is it actually shut down?
I guess because
you dropped off my Skype, as in you're no longer in my list anymore.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because it should still be in there. Because like whenever I go to my Hotmail, it automatically logs me into whatever web messaging they have built into that.
You mean Outlook.com?
Yeah.
Do you hear the story the other day that the NSA were in a panic because that was encrypted when it first launched, that messaging? They're like, shit, we can't access this. And Microsoft were like, don't worry, we'll build you a backdoor, quick. So now they can read it.
But yeah, I should.
Fuck you!
It's like I should still be on that list whenever I go onto my email. But then, it just there was. I think I probably already said it on the podcast, but there was just like one day where it decided not to let me log into MS any longer, and I was like, well, I guess it's done now then.
It's done. That's the end. Google Reader shut down. Boo. Although I've been using the old Reader and it's pretty good, so I'm not as annoyed as I could have been. But the trouble with that is, I mean, I always thought that because it's Google, it's reliable and it won't go away. Whereas with the old Reader, it's like some random people or whatever. But in fact, no, because Google just shuts stuff down out of nowhere.
What else did they say? They announced something else that they were killing.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, I can't remember what it was. It's one of the more well-known ones in a way.
Yeah, they're always
shit. I can't remember now. Something else is dying.
Yeah. Showing something else. Aren't they saying there's Google Code or something, so you can't download off it or something? Because everyone uses GitHub, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah. Or Codeplex. But there's
not that many people use GitHub. I guess it's a
lot of good stuff ends up on Codeplex.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
A lot of good stuff ends up there.
Yeah.
But you see what the Google? Oh, the thing that got me confused for a while this week was how Google are now trying to ham-fist Google Plus into YouTube.
Oh god, yeah.
And it's a really awkward implementation.
Well, it's not really just YouTube and Google Plus. It's more like they're trying to consolidate all your different Google logins into one thing.
Well, yeah, it's a bit ham-fisted because you log into YouTube now and it goes, "Hey, who are you? Do you want to use your YouTube account or your Google Plus account?" And it's like, I don't care.
The number of times they ask me, "Do you want to use your real name?" It's like,
that's
go,
so annoying.
Go away, you fuckers.
Why doesn't it just remember that I said no?
Yeah, I said no.
I don't want to use my real name on here. I specifically don't like the Saladcast's YouTube
It's like that's
channel.
the whole reason. It's like, who has a personal YouTube channel? I mean, come on.
Well, some people do, but
well, some people, like people who have become like a personality on YouTube, certainly, but not. And then random people who just take stupid videos of like the street.
Well, families and people may want them to share amongst their relatives and stuff, and they might as well do it on YouTube, I guess.
But it's not like a thing.
But yeah, just like the Saladcast one.
It's not like everyone wants to be like that. The whole idea of having a YouTube channel is to have a overarching like brand almost for your video content.
Well, the Happy Salad channel kept asking if I wanted it to be called Robert Kemp, but it's like no, I don't.
Not. Clearly not.
It's just stop asking me. It has now stopped asking me, but now it keeps asking, "Do you want to make a Google?" It forced me at one point to make a Google Plus account for
the
Saladcast, or the email address I use for the YouTube channel for that. So now we have a Google Plus account and a YouTube account, but the two still aren't linked properly. So it asks you every time you log in, it's like, do you want to use it as this? It's like, I don't fucking know. Which one should I use for YouTube and which one should I not? Aren't they the same? It's really shitly done.
Yeah.
Which let us have a hilarious few
got
hours of being hella confused. It was like
the propagation of names on that service is pretty bad and slow. I got what the username was wrong because it had been showing me Happy Salad for a while,
and it had always been the Saladcast.
Yeah.
So I was like, our YouTube channel is the Saladcast. I always search for the Saladcast.
Yeah.
on YouTube,
and he was
apparently
right.
Not.
He was right, but to me, things were being shown as Happy Salad because that was the profile name. So it's like bits of YouTube were showing different things to me, I think, to what other people were saying. And then when we changed the capitalization that I'd messed up in place, it took ages for the rest of the page to actually catch up and show the right figures and stuff. It's like it must have been some bits would work and then other bits would be different, and it just... Yeah, it was really weird. And that must be like propagation within Google's server network, but it was just so haphazard.
And now we have the ever hilarious YouTube issue of like or at the end of every video when we say what the YouTube channel is, it's now wrong.
Yeah, probably. I've probably been getting that wrong for months.
Except it's not, because it's still the URL is still...
the URL is the Saladcast, but the channel's now Happy Salad. That's my fault. I got it wrong. I got it wrong at the start. The problem is that there is someone else called the Saladcast and other people called Happy Salad, so we're called the Saladcast for a reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's one of those shit, we had to make something work.
But then again, the number of times we failed to actually do a proper outro on any of our content and just say, look for Happy Salad on the Saladcast, you'll find it.
Well, yeah, the outro card has the web address, so it's just like, just look at that.
Yeah, that's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess we could put a link in like have a boilerplate for the description with a hyperlink.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
probably do that.
Or make a blank frame and put some annotations up on there.
No, none of that shit. I hate
I'm
that
not a big
shit.
fan of that.
At least you could make them green.
The worst thing is when you find them at the end of the video, like that have got sections with like little videos. Oh, click on this one. And there's nothing there at all. No annotation, no link or anything anchored.
Yep.
I don't know. And also they're annoying because like the bar of time bar no longer tells you how long until the end of the video because there's an extra like minute of like nothing at the end.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Which I don't know why that annoys me, but anything like
that. No, I do find that irritating as well. It's like, shouldn't you? But if you want to find more, just go to the channel, right?
Wouldn't it be smarter to if you wanted to solve that problem, you were making a video on YouTube, you could just put a pause in, use the annotation pause.
Yeah, but sometimes they have the next video playing in the little box.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not important.
Oh, no, but they normally do that with the previous ones, so they're not necessarily next. And if there is a next, they'll have had to have re-encoded the video or had the series ready, that kind of stuff. So it's...
Yeah. But anyway.
Most of them do it as a previous, so you can backtrack.
And now Google, I don't know if this has always been, or for a while, but I mean, now Google have decided that RSS is dead. The YouTube RSS feeds for like a channel or whatever are really good, and they work pretty well. But now there is no link to them on the page anywhere.
Oh, shit.
Because they want you to click subscribe and have it on your YouTube homepage and all that bullshit. So you have to like find the URL or have a little like browser extension that gives you a little thing.
It all sounds like Google wanting to keep everything in-house, perhaps being a little too aggressive about it. And
they're all doing it.
Yeah, I know. And
Walled gardens are like way coming back.
Yeah, it trips everyone up though. Always. There's always a point where everyone just has enough of it and some guy just goes, yeah, we're really open, and takes over. Because that was Google at one point.
Exactly, yeah.
Google are now evil.
That's a bit sweeping.
Yeah, maybe. They're tending.
Yeah, it depends.
I think that, yeah.
Their search division is still pretty...
Oh, yeah,
They don't like, remove pirate websites and stuff just because...
No.
Unless they're court-ordered or whatever.
Well, yeah, you do get those copyright infringement removals sometimes.
Yeah, but that's like court-ordered stuff that they have to comply with. But they won't like go around searching for and removing stuff from.
They're not being nanny state,
exactly,
which is fine
yeah.
as long as they don't start doing that.
Yeah.
Then we're okay.
And their search results are still
the best.
That's not what nanny state means.
Kind of is.
It kind of is, isn't it? Yeah, it's like someone
they're not a
nannying
state,
you
but...
to...
Well, that too.
Yeah.
It's someone thinking they know better than you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think that's fair enough. What's your challenge? I don't understand your challenge.
What challenge?
To the use of nanny state.
What's your view on it? What does it mean?
I mean, it's a bit vague because it's not a state.
I think that when you say nanny state, it's more like telling you what to do because you're incapable of doing it, rather than just because they think it's the right
It's
idea.
telling you what's best for you.
Yeah.
Well, that might. I agree.
kind
It
of-
might be their opinion that they think we're incapable of doing it. Whether or not we are or not is irrelevant, I guess,
Maybe.
to that description. Anyway, I can't think of any more big news.
Video
I've been
games.
wrecking.
I've got
There
big
was
news.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
another bit I thought of as well.
Go ahead.
And mine was much less big.
Yeah.
There was and also this is partly in games we played, but there was a new patch for Team Fortress 2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I heard about this.
They
They fixed everything.
they fixed a whole ton of shit. Basically, they went through all the maps and just
Fixed all the exploits.
fixed exploits and other miscellaneous annoying. The sort of indicative one of that was where it's there was just a patch note where on 2.4 it's fix the clipping on the wagon wheel. It's that fucking wagon wheel.
Finally.
Yay.
Jesus.
But the much less cool part of that huge patch was they got rid of the set bonuses for the old polygon.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I mean, that is probably fair.
I see why.
It's dumb and annoying. Those set bonuses were actually sort of cool and interesting in different ways. Some of them were less relevant. It's the scout one doesn't matter, the pirate one doesn't matter. The spy one was hella annoying, but I haven't actually seen people use that
No,
very
I've seen
much
that for a while.
lately. And then there's the sniper one, that's the one that I think was important, because the immunity to
So
headshots thing.
overpowered, really.
Not really. It's the immunity to headshot things was dumb, and you had to use this ridiculous set where it was
Yeah,
you had a knife that gave you a crit bonus on Giraffe people, but it didn't come with the Giraffe,
Yeah.
which was ridiculous.
but their argument for that was there's no way of telling by looking at someone that doesn't have the knife out if they've got the set on,
whole
and
set.
therefore
Because they're wearing a giant crocodile hat.
Yeah, but if they didn't have the knife, then they would still be vulnerable to headshots.
Yeah, so, whatever. Maybe just add an effect or something. Come on, there's other ways to fix it.
Yeah,
It's
the problem with the set bonuses is they were just every other item in the game has tried to be balanced, and yet the set bonus is just a straight upgrade.
Not really. It's no, because the whole point of
Well, you're granting immunity headshots to other items on top of other items which are already balanced.
yeah, but they aren't. They would. It's I don't think the gun giving you the complete inability to get headshots. I'd say that's the balance to being immune to headshots, because makes it a completely different thing.
But does that only give you that disability if you have the set?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, you only got the. That's not just you only got the advantage. If
Yeah,
you
that's
had
what I
the
meant.
set.
You get the advantage of
All the set bonuses were always advantageous.
With no downside, apart from the fact that you couldn't mix and match your
That you
equipment.
had to use the set.
you had to use the whole thing. So if there was disadvantages that you didn't want, you couldn't avoid them.
But
Basically, the
still,
only way that works is if they introduced items that were downgrades unless you were using the set.
But they could have just rebalanced it. They.
I really don't care. I think that
The anti-headshot thing, the only reason I think that was an important one that they should have kept somehow,
Right.
even if it was completely respecing it and just making that attached to the gun only and then
I
making
thought
the
that's
gun.
what they did.
Well, no, they didn't. They got rid of the set bonuses and
entirely.
respect all the other weapons but made them different. So they don't still make the same effect as the sets used to.
Okay.
So, but the only reason I think that anti-headshot one was important because there's no way to counter a really good sniper on the enemy team unless you're a really good sniper, and the immunity to headshots was the counter because then you get one free shot from them because they can instantly see you as some snipers tend to do.
But that would only work once, presumably per map, surely, because then it's it's that guy. I can't.
Well,
shoot
yeah,
him.
it makes them have to think harder.
Maybe.
They can't just automatically see your head and shoot it. They have to look at you and realise that you're that guy who survived the headshot before, so they should body shot you
Well,
instead.
then they need to put that bonus on one item.
Yeah.
then, obviously.
I think they should bring the anti-headshot back.
If hats had stats,
Well,
then perhaps the Croc hat should have it.
but yeah.
Well, can't they just respec the gun so that you can't get hit, but it can't deal headshots?
Yeah,
and then
it
have some other-
could be attached to
Yeah.
whatever part of
But
that.
it
set
kind
you
of
want
it might make sense to actually put it on the was it the P gun?
Yeah.
Because that's not you lose some of the headshot stuff on that gun anyway, don't you?
Yeah, you can't do headshots.
Yeah.
But that's the only one that I cared about. And no, the spy one was that was okay only because of the way that set worked in total. Because it crippled your ability you couldn't choose to disguise yourself. So that was like the balance between for having the ridiculously quiet decloak.
Your eternal reward, you mean?
Yeah.
Which people still use, actually. That knife still gets used quite a lot, but...
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I've just seen all Spicicle now.
Yeah, pretty much everyone always uses Spicicle.
I saw they nerfed the Dead Ringer, right?
Have they?
Yeah, sort of. They just sort of made it neutral, really. It's just like they got rid of the bonuses for...
Oh, you could still get dealt damage while you're...
Yeah, you don't get, like, the damage No, you do still get the damage resistance, but it drains your cloak faster if you're taking damage.
Ah, so you get less time.
Yeah.
While you're...
Because that was always annoying when you hit a Dead Ringer spy, and you can feel them like you're bumping them, and you're shooting them, and it's like, but they've got 90% damage resistance while they're Dead Ringers. So you're just pounding them, and then eventually they decloak. It just, like, reduces that whole sequence of events in terms of time, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, maybe that's also a balance for the Spicicle as well, because of the fire immunity, where you'd hit a Dead Ringer spy, but because of the Spicicle, they'd be fire immune, so you couldn't set them on fire while they were running away, but you'd still be hitting them because you'd be able to tell. Then it will drain their cloak super fast, so they won't be able to use it like that any longer, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of sucked, but it was also kind of good. I haven't played either of the new maps yet either.
They nerfed the Liberty Launcher is the one that annoyed me most, I think.
Oh, did they?
It's got a damage.
It's
got a damage.
It was so overpowered.
I never got a chance to use that damn thing. That seemed like the perfect.
The lack of the extra rocket was a problem because what they've done is they've given it 4 rockets again.
Oh,
so
okay.
they've increased the clip, but you have a 25% damage reduction for the projectile and the extra projectile speed. So it's like it's making me go back to the original gun or the black box or.
What I hadn't realised for years is apparently like the splash damage or whatever, is related to how far you are from the guy, rather than how far. Like,
there's damage drop off in general.
Everything.
Yeah. There's damage. Yeah, stuff happening right in your face does a lot more damage than stuff happening at a distance in general.
It's crazy if you're a soldier because you can blow the shit out of somebody who's standing right next to you.
Yeah. Well, it's a clever idea in a way because it's
really.
Well, and it tries to force the game into its close combat anyway because there's no real accurate machine guns, are there?
No.
Which always causes long range fights.
Like rockets but rockets will go directly to the middle of your reticle, regardless of range. And that's pretty much the only thing
clever,
it does.
Actually, it does work, and it makes TF2 the fun, frantic fights that they are.
Yeah,
because you can't really camp and hit people from afar unless you're a sniper.
Yeah, it's going to make me think to not bother taking pot shots. Then I guess as a soldier, and always go for me.
Oh, you still do that anyway. Just fire them out anyway. You're still doing damage.
I guess.
So like I always do with my stupid scout shotgun where I'm doing like 3 damage from It's like whatever. I mean,
just always take the shot.
Hit them.
Always take the shot.
Although that's also if you're trying to run past snipers, you've got to do that anyway. As long as one tiny 3 damage piece of flak hits them, it will jerk their aim, make you slightly harder to hit.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, so that happened.
When was the last Valve map?
A while ago.
It was Barn Blitz. Well, was that Valve?
I'm not sure it was, no.
Are these ones Valve? I'm not even sure they are. Their community as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, all the new items are community as well.
Well, I mean, the items at this point are probably all going to be...
Yeah.
They're things that have come up through the workshop have been uprated.
That's cool. But I think... Yeah, if they're not, like, if all the items are coming from the community, it'd be nice to have them do
another game?
A map.
Well, yeah, what are they really working on?
Well, no one knows. I mean, you can do what you like at Valve, apparently.
Yeah, I guess.
If you love TF2, you probably sit there and work on TF2 all day, if that's what you want to do. No one's going to stop you.
On the balance team, maybe. That's probably what they've been doing for a while.
They have to make the weapon stats still, presumably.
Yeah. Test them out. Run the beta servers. Pay attention.
Oh yeah, and that was the other one. One more of these items that got nerfed, maybe unnecessarily hard. I thought was the stupid soldier pickaxe that makes you.
Oh yeah,
it's like the one that makes you fast when you've got low health. They also added so when you have it out, you get hit by mini crit damage, and that's just like you're already on no health, and you pull the thing out, and then you just get shot. How does that make it more balanced?
Well, I think it's to try and make it because both that and the equalizer are straight upgrades from the shovel.
Well, that's why they separated them, though.
Yeah, but they're still straight upgrades.
Yeah, but everything's a straight upgrade from the shovel. Any soldier melee weapon that has a different stat is a straight upgrade from a thing that has no stats.
Market Gardener has a different stat, doesn't it? It's less damage except when rocket jumping.
Yeah, and that's really difficult to use, but some people can do it.
Got fucking hit by a sticky jumping demo man the other day. Just landed on my face and used the Ullapool caver to...
Well, they always do that. It's the classic.
Fuck!
It's the classic manoeuvre. Use the sticky jumper so you don't even take the jump damage, and then you typically survive after using the caver.
Yeah.
It's a good old plan. There's that classic video of like someone where a demo man is playing. It's an arena nucleus, so he sticky jumps across the entire map to the other swarm door because nucleus is tiny. Hits them with the caver, which gets him first blood, and then just fires critical grenades. It just kills the entire team.
Nice.
Like, yep, I guess that's how you do that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that would only work on arena though.
Well, yeah, because of the first blood bonus. It'd probably still work pretty good even on non-arena nucleus, just because that's way too small.
What, King of the Hill nucleus?
Yeah.
So yeah, TF2.
Yep, we played some more of that a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
The big news that you guys won't care about, that the internet went a bit crazy for, was Grand Theft Auto 5 gameplay trailer this week.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that happened. I didn't watch the trailer.
Did you watch it?
I think I watched it, assuming it was that trailer.
Yeah. And now
it didn't look much like gameplay to me.
How do you mean?
Well, it was like sometimes they were shooting at dudes, and it's just like the trouble with Grand Theft Auto is like most of the time you're just walking around, and that could just be any
or driving around.
Yeah, or driving around.
There wasn't too much driving shots because it's like you kind of know what there's going to be.
Yeah.
There was like one thing where you kind of swerved around. I think he was using that guy's ability to like because one of them's got a driving ability. Yeah, yeah, everyone wants to know what's in the shed on top of the mountain. That seems to be the main takeaway from that video. It's like, what's in the shed? Yeah, but yeah. It showed a bit of the gunplay, and it basically does look like Max Payne 3.
Okay.
With the weapon wheel from, well, Max Payne 3, I guess, but like Red Dead style weapon wheel.
Well, that's fine. Yeah.
Looked, as expected. I mean,
it's the standard now, I think, for games of that type. You know, Saints Row does it as well. And...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it was narrated by a lady, and she talking as the developers were saying that there's been a focus on mechanics this time around or whatever. So the driving and shooting, they were trying to get everything is fun. That's what she said, right? As the guy was like paradiving off
did they take a
off
hint
the mountain
from how the Titanfall people did their presentation? It's really fun. It's really fun. It's really, really fun.
She did say it was fun, but she was doing it in a kind of very voiceover-y style.
It's really fun.
In Grand Theft Auto 5, and all this stuff. And then
you will shoot dudes in the face.
And then there was a scene of like Trevor, like, is it Trevor? Yeah, like trying to get a human hand down a toilet or something.
Yep.
And then you see Franklin just like walking out of a medical marijuana store or whatever with his dog and stuff. Yeah, all kinds of ridiculousness. And it looks funny. And
multiplayer.
And at the end they were like, "Woo, multiplayer!" It's like I didn't really
Who plays
care about
GTA for the multiplayer except to doss around and make glitch videos?
Well, it had like 20 players or something, and one of them in a jet fly past which looked quite funny. But it's called Grand Theft Auto Online. Anyway, there was some extra news that some of this stuff I'd actually seen before. Like they showed the switching characters, like where it like zooms out and moves across the map and goes into whatever that guy is doing at the time.
Yeah.
So that looked pretty much as I'd seen described in the previews. That seems to work fine. I still don't know how. I mean, they jumped into the crazy guy Trevor, and he had a 5-star wanted level, I think. Now, that could be awkward.
Oh, that could be a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to leave him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go do something else.
Exactly, yeah. I'm not sure how often that will happen. Because, like, Michael was, like, coming back from a bike ride with his kid or something, and then switched to Trevor, and he was, like, in the middle of a massive police chase or something. So it was pretty hilarious. Yeah. So they showed that stuff. I've heard that how it works on 360 is you have, like, a mandatory 8 gig install or something, which is quite, at which point, so it comes on 2 discs, at which point you only ever need to use 1 disc from then on, including for
sensible. So I don't have that kind of space.
Yeah, so that's how they've solved that, I guess. I think it has a mandatory install on PS3 as well.
Oh yeah, that'll be it. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Pretty much most PS3 games install something.
But of course, that's only 1 disc because it's Blu-ray. But that's how they've solved that issue, which is fair enough.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bugger because Xbox hard drives aren't big.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably stick it on a flash disc.
Yeah, you'd almost have to have your GTA specific flash drive to get that. That's
probably okay. Yeah,
because they only support up to 16 gig flash drives. So
oh, really? So you just get one of those, I guess. Why is that then? Do they not go
to try and sell you hard drives?
Oh, I see. Bastards. Anyway, an 8 gig, the 16 gig flash drive would be worth it.
Yeah, I think they kept that restriction even when they made the new SKUs where you can't even swap out the hard drive.
Bastard. Anyway, and they showed a bit of the. I'm worried I'm hoping they don't over rely on it. I don't think they can because I think they're going to be very complex to design. But the missions where all 3 characters are involved, they showed a bit of that and flicking between the characters and like providing. One of them's flying the helicopter, one of them's like rappelling down the side of a building and smashing in, and the other guy's the like sniper on support on the other side. And it did look quite slick. They're like flicking between and like, but they could have just edited that to make it look slick when in fact it's like, what the fuck's going on? I need to get the beat on this guy.
Or alternatively,
mission failed.
Or alternatively, maybe it's just even scripted that could like.
I think you have control over when to change because it had a little interface with the D-pad, but
that could have been a fake interface.
I don't know,
but they probably wouldn't do that much of a fake.
Yeah,
I see your point. That could be a real confusing thing to maintain.
Well, on the other hand, that guy did literally say pretty much what he says is pretty much go to the sniper now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't really mind that. I mean, you could just ignore him, I guess, and just keep shooting and see if you can do it without the sniper.
Hope the AI just does it for you.
Yeah, but I think you definitely have control over. But I expect that these missions will be like anchor points in the story, and there'll only be like maybe 5 of them or something.
Probably. I don't reckon there'll be many.
Kind of like the GTA 4 heist mission where you had to build up to it through a bunch of missions, getting to know the guys and stuff, and then you did the big heist. So I expect there'll be a few of those.
Yeah, it seems likely.
And what else they showed? They showed like everyone's excited because you can change clothes in a shop instantly and not have to wait for it to like load and stuff. Everyone's like, "This is awesome!" It's like,
wonderful!
Oh God, great!
Don't
brilliant!
care.
Yeah, awesome! Yeah, but I mean, at least that annoyances are being removed, so that's cool. And it has tennis, doesn't it? Like full blown golf. And tennis.
I'm sure they just like. They've probably just ported Rockstar ping pong.
Rockstar ping pong, but full blown tennis or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty hilarious. And it's got hunting and stuff like Red Dead, I guess. Yeah,
you already have guns.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't.
It's got jets.
I'm not sure I want the side stuff in GTA.
I like side stuff in GTA. That's the whole thing, is it?
I like side stuff. I like side stuff in GTA in theory.
In theory, but
like if it's good,
but it was all crap.
And if it's not forced on you.
Yeah, that's the key thing. I think they've learned is not to have people ring you up saying, "Hey, cousin, I want to go bowling."
So annoying.
Yeah, so they're not doing that. I mean, that's like the joke, isn't it? Now that they're definitely not doing that.
Because they had very little side
phone.
Stuff really in Red Dead when you think about it. It's like
it was quite a bit, but it was all optional. Like there are a lot of things.
Most of it was side missions, and it's like things where you actually go and do something in the world that wasn't too detached from what you'd end up going. Sure, there were a couple of those gambling games, And it's like,
yeah.
they're pretty simple. Yeah, sure, why not? You
Sure.
don't really have to. You don't have to spend any time on them.
No. I quite enjoyed the poker one though because it was actual.
But I'm not sure I count the gathering and to a lesser extent, the hunting really, because they are just gathering tasks.
Oh no,
It's
no,
like,
no! I don't think they'll have that. Like, get 100 pelts or whatever, like they did in Red Dead. That won't be in Grand Theft Auto.
No.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
It's
Although,
like,
trying to get
they were very minor in terms of the scope of the game, whereas in GTA 4, a lot of the side stuff, there was as much shit side stuff as there was game. And it's...
Oh, I don't know about that. But...
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like I was always being dragged into doing something of one of these crappy little tasks that's just not well implemented and not fun, like, as much as I was doing a mission. And it's like... At least, I didn't play very far into the game, like, really, but...
Yeah.
But, there was just so much of it, and it's like, hey, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. I really don't care.
Fair enough. Then no girlfriends, apparently.
Good.
They removed that.
Because that sucked.
It was quite hilarious, I don't know, I never did it, but I know people had fun with the online dating thing in GTA 4. Because you could go on and have more dates other than the ones in the story, and by going on the online dating site and stuff.
But then it just meant the only thing that was interesting about those was the conversations, but then you're having to do something really tedious in order to have those.
Yeah, that wasn't really, like my favourite mechanic at all.
I hated
that. You can now trade on the stock market?
Right.
Something in-game.
Right.
And so buy property and stuff and invest in property. So that's back, buying property, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's okay. That one I can deal with.
Yeah, so that could be quite fun.
Especially if they all act as like safe houses and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
they will, I'm sure.
Because that's fine. That's actually giving you a clear benefit to doing something.
Yeah, you can buy, but she went into going, you can buy cars and things and
customize them.
Customizable cars as well as customizable clothes and tattoos and shit. But you can do full...
I suppose, again, I never really cared too much for that, I guess.
Well, it only matters if, like...
They're persistent or something.
Yeah, or if, like, cars are slightly less explosive or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to be able to...
Yeah, what if you customised it and then immediately drove it into a lake?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that was a waste of time and money.
Insurance fraud, go.
Yeah.
The main thing is to get... You always get little dings or whatever, and as soon as you get the tiniest ding, you're like, oh, this car is ruined. Fuck it, next one. Still not. But, like, you just need to get, like, a minor damage to be, like, repaired for free every time you use it or something, or something
Perhaps,
else. Yeah, without having to, like, drive to a spray shop or something.
Stick it in your garage and
drive it back out.
Let the door close.
Magically, yeah. You need something else to because that is annoying.
No matter how they do it, it's still going to be magically, though.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Unless you just like instead of having like a gardener employed in your safe house, you have a repair dude.
Mechanic dude.
Who just stands in your garage and is like, oh, you're bringing this fucked up car, 2 minutes and it'll be fixed.
Cool.
Mysteriously.
I'd hire that dude. That'd be awesome. People like, I can actually spend my cash.
Except probably not.
Yeah.
Because it would just be the same as every other game where you make money and you always have too much. Unless you spend all on the stock market, I guess.
Yeah.
You can just make infinite money.
You can make tons of money for no reason. And then you can buy, like, if you really want big on the ball sack index, as they call it, you could buy, like, every exotic car possible. Have, like, a massive garage.
Well, yeah.
Or
that's if they allow you.
You're always going to run out of things to buy in that kind of game.
Yeah, it's true.
Even regardless of how much effort you're putting into making money.
Yeah, it's true. It's got submarines. And, like, scuba diving for some reason.
Well, scuba diving makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, that's sort of the thing about all these new games. Like, even, like, there's the Call of Duty scuba diving, and then there's Battlefield with its jet skis and boats. It's just like, water has been underexploited because water is so goddamn hard to deal with in video games in general. Yeah. Just the whole idea of having, like, a completely different set of physics to work with, and, like, rendering water.
Fish. Move out of the way.
Yeah. It's got GTA 5 has fish that move out of the way.
Oh my god! Next gen.
And it's got dogs, which is a first for Grand Theft Auto. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think so. And it does have dogs. Like you have a dog. I think one of the characters has a dog.
That seems weird that there wouldn't have been dogs before.
You'd think they'd be attack dogs or something.
I think they might have been in cutscenes, perhaps in San Andreas, but not actually in the world.
It's interesting that there are dogs because there's no children in Grand Theft Auto, so you'd think for the same reason you wouldn't want to run over dogs. And
well,
shoot dogs.
that's probably a very ethical decision, to be honest.
Yeah.
There'll be, if there's...
You're going to be able to...
Yeah, is that going to be a bad thing? Does it have the same problem if you put, like, cats and stuff in the world that you can just run over? I suppose if you have hunting, you need animals. So
yeah, exactly.
Birds and shit that you can shoot. Flying people.
I guess you already shot a lot of pigeons.
Yeah,
that's true.
But then again, pigeons are a different thing.
Yeah.
Flying people. Model swapping.
So yeah, I have to wait and see, obviously, but I'm stoked for, as they say.
I'm willing
5.
to be swayed, but past history of my enjoyment of those games still stands.
Fair dues.
Um,
So, that's the news.
That's 2/3 of this podcast.
Way too much news again.
What have you been playing, Zag?
No, you have to start with Rob this week. That's what we said.
Did we? Why?
Yeah,
Because I talked the whole time last time.
Yeah, it was the Zach show.
Right, okay. That's no good.
I honestly can't remember what I was going to talk about last week, so I'm only going to talk about
you
what I did.
mentioned Dust at the end of last time.
Yeah, both Zach
and you
and I...
mentioned Little Inferno, but I don't think there's much more to say about that.
No,
really.
no, we can skip that.
What have you been playing last?
So, Zach and I both finished Dust. So Zach started and finished it in the last 2 weeks while I've been playing it, because, he does that.
It's not a very long game, really.
It's pretty long. It's like 15 hours.
Yeah, but it's not as long as I thought it would have been, really.
For an X-Blur game, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's why I realised it was that short. I was like, this makes more sense when you're thinking about it as being a console.
Yeah, it's not a full release, is it? It's like that's not bad.
And also,
it's longer than I was expecting.
Yeah, and being made by one guy, obviously.
Yeah, well, regardless of that, it's I really, really enjoy that game. It's surprising, actually, how much I think I really like that. Given that it does have, now that we've seen the whole thing through, it does have a couple of kind of weird flaws.
Yeah.
Stand by all the stuff I said before, and that it's beautiful, it's fun, I like the, I like most of the art, not so keen on the character designs, but I like the characters for the most part. And the voice acting is pretty great in places. Where I think the game fails slightly is that it introduces a lot, like pretty much all of the combat mechanics right at the start.
Literally all of them. You don't ever unlock new moves for combat, really.
And I think that's a bit of a shame, because your tactics for most encounters are the same throughout the entire game.
Well, it's because there's no... It's also like, not only do they not introduce any new moves, they don't really introduce any new enemy types that do things differently, apart from ones that have a shield.
Yeah, a couple of the big ones.
ones where you have to parry.
Ones that can block later on, and there's some invisible ones at one point, very briefly.
That's barely a mechanic.
But yeah, the flying ones, I guess, are somewhat interesting. There's that one flying enemy that can cause you to be unable to use fidget, and there's that one enemy that actually just the ice ladies that create that crystal in their hands that can either silence fidget or hurt you unless you damage them in time. But then it's like, that's kind of interesting if they're just off screen. It's like, oh fuck, I've got to bring them back.
When does that ever happen?
Yeah,
you just murder them. It's just like the flying enemies as well. It's like you murder them before they even shoot. If you have any sense, once you've realised what they do, then you're like, now I just have to kill them really quickly.
Well, the enemy spawners in the graveyard, I suppose, are a bit different, because you really have to damage them with charged fidget lightning.
Well, yeah, but that's not really. You're not. That's also not really anything that you're not already doing,
I guess. But anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. And it's still, despite the fact that it is the same for the moment, there's still quite a lot of enjoyment in doing that combat.
Yeah.
Even if it is a bit hard to see what the hell's going on sometimes. And sometimes I think the telegraphing of the moves, perhaps when there's so many enemies around you and the attacks you're doing create such crazy effects, that sometimes it can be really hard to see if someone's attacking you.
Well, yeah,
and the enemies are sometimes a bit too smart. I think, like, you'll be flying out of the sky from miles away, only to land just in the right place where someone has already managed to wind up and attack at just the right time. So you land and get hit immediately, and it's like, when you're doing that from landing from off screen, and then there's a guy just going poke, and you're like, oh, fuck's sake, there's nothing I could have done about that.
It's just like you never just get. Really, the whole idea of that combat is you just never give them a chance to do anything. Always have everything stunned.
Yeah, have everything on screen sort of
juggled or bouncing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and some of the secrets. I like the secret stuff. You know, the friend mechanics are always quite nice.
Yeah, but then that's just like
the extra bonus stuff. That's not really part of the game,
no.
But it's handled really well.
It's like they should have done more of that, maybe, and like put it into the main game. Like the stupid thing where if you do the aerial dust storm, you can follow trails of enemies. That could have actually been a mechanic in the game at some point, rather than just being a one-off thing.
They could have done that a little stronger. It does help you sometimes. You can use that to get to places that you shouldn't be able to access yet.
Yeah. Then again, that's a problem more than a mechanic.
No, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It didn't really break the game.
No.
It was only ever secret areas and chests and stuff. So it was fine. Yeah. The story for me had one fairly glaring. Well, I had a couple of flaws. One, that some of the cutscenes, some of the speech is way too cheesy. Like, even Gnome would comment, like, watching it, go, "Oh man, this is real cheesy. It's going on for way too long."
There was one major bit.
There was some stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff where they repeat themselves a bit too often, and you never really find out why. Okay, yeah, this is a potential spoiler alert, I guess, but you never really find out why Gaius is performing the genocide of the Moonbloods.
Well, if you want to talk about things you never really find out where the fuck this sword comes from and what Fidget has to do with it.
No,
it's just like, hey, it's a sword. Hey, I'm the guardian of the sword. Let's go.
That's about it. Yeah. Well, it sort of sets it up for there being perhaps a series of these.
Yeah.
So maybe we will find out. Why would it not happen?
I just don't think after you put that much effort into doing one, it's almost like the Dwarf Fortress problem, where you're one guy making an entire game. I think once you're done, you don't want to make that game again.
Well, maybe. It took him 3.5 years, apparently, to put that together. Which is in itself actually quite an impressive timescale.
Yeah.
I wonder if... I don't know. If he loves what he was doing enough in that world to put that much effort in, maybe, he'd carry on. Because I don't know, I guess if you're making a sequel, perhaps you've already got a lot of assets you can reuse, so the second run is actually a bit easier.
Maybe.
And they could go back and backtrack and perhaps tell the story of the old Elysian age, from which the sword comes from.
That's almost not a sequel at that point. That might as well be a different game.
Well, it could be that you tell it in the style that you need to know things perhaps about the old age in order to affect now. It's like an ancient civilization. We have to unlock the secrets of the past to help the future. One of those things. That's probably how you do it. Because, bring back dust and all that shit.
Yeah, because the classic ending to that game.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, oh no, and then, oh shit.
Oh, what's this?
Oh, what's that? Never would have guessed that would happen.
End.
And then cut.
Yeah. I really like it. Really recommend.
The other problem that I found, which was sort of my own fault in a way, is like the first time I started it up, I put it on tough difficulty because I was like, I can probably handle this. It can't be that fucking difficult.
I wish I did.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I played it through normal, and it was harder at the start, and then got quite easy for the rest of it.
Well, it's like I put it on tough, and then I was like, well, this might as well be one hit kill, really.
Well, yeah, I'm playing hardcore.
And then that literally is one hit kill.
It is like that, yeah.
So I thought, oh, well, that's actually quite tough, so maybe I'll just play it on normal and see how that goes. And then on normal, I was like, well, this is still quite severe, but the thing is, it's only like that right at the start of the game, and then you get quite powerful, and then there was a point like in the middle where you just become super ultra powerful, and then it was just like from then on, I never took virtually no damage ever.
Yeah, once you've leveled up a few times, you're stronger than most of the enemies in the first several areas. Because they don't level up for a while.
Well, yeah, and then I mean the point where it really, where the peak of where you reach what seems like the peak of your regular power, and then you unlock a thing where it becomes ludicrous. As soon as you get the lightning, it's that is the most ridiculously overpowered. Because you start off with your homing bolts, and those are pretty powerful. Then you get the fire thing, which is completely fucking useless, and you're like, oh damn.
It was alright for a bit. And then useful on certain enemies.
But then once you get to the lightning, it's just because it stun locks everything for a really long time.
Yeah.
and you can combo it really easily.
And it raised your hit count by tons.
Yeah,
and
it gives you a massive experience bonus because your experience is based on your hit count.
Yeah,
and because the lightning chain does a ton of tiny hits, the numbers just go up. So it just makes you even more powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, play that on tough if you're going to. Stick it out through the first bit of the game.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the moment. I'm a few hours into hardcore mode now, and I'm just waiting to see whether I'll reach the point where it becomes not hard anymore, or if that point will come. Because at the moment, it's still pretty tough.
Well, it's like when you're playing it again, it's like from the start when I was playing through again on tough, it was just like you sort of. At that point, because you're better at understanding how it works as well. That was the other reason why it was like on that first attempt of tough, I wasn't doing so well, was because I didn't know how the tricks of the combat. I didn't know to just like aerial dust storm combo into the air and juggle it.
Yeah, you pick that up, don't you? So I don't know. I don't know how I may stick with my second playthrough. I'm not sure.
Well, it's just like there's an achievement.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, I didn't get the tough or hardcore achievement.
Yeah, they have. It's the classic difficulty level.
I missed a couple on my first playthrough. So, one of which you can't get on your first.
Yeah,
playthrough. You have to play it twice,
but not all of the game twice, apart from unless you've missed the tough or hardcore one.
Yeah. But mainly because it is just an enjoyable thing.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to view and experience. A pleasure of a game.
That's crazy shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. So what else have I been playing? On the indie front, I have played through both Dear Esther and Proteus, because that they don't take long.
No,
they're also not really games.
No games, basically. Experiences. I found Dear Esther a little more touching, I think, than I thought I would.
Okay.
I reckon a lot of people won't get it, because it is, even the narration they tell is kind of abstract. Mm-hmm. Nothing's ever spelt out directly to you. It's a little awkward. They throw in biblical references, they play games with what they call characters that they're bringing up. It's never 100% clear as to whether the things that they're bringing up actually are related to what you're seeing in the world in some cases. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It is quite a pretty thing, given that it's built on an old, I think it's the Left 4 Dead 2 version of the Source engine.
Yeah.
The level of foliage going on is pretty cool. It's not Crisis level stuff, I suppose, but it's still quite nice looking. I was trying to play it in 3D and forgot that there's quite a lot of water around an island, and that the Source engine doesn't do the water effects very well in 3D.
Right. Yeah. So
it was a bit better when I got in the caves, but. Not so great when you're wandering around the shoreline. I thought it's very interesting. You can finish it in about 45 minutes, which is about the same time as it takes to get through Proteus.
Right.
Interesting. I'm not sure I'd really go back to it. I mean, I spent a bit of time after the story, like just reading wikis about what people thought it meant.
Yeah.
And it is one of those games where it's unclear what it means, but. Or how some of the story elements actually come together, but it's interesting it is very interesting from a narrative point of view. I think it's just the right length for what it does, because there is no game; you're just walking around.
Yeah,
and there's a path on which you should walk.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real secrets. There's no real anything like that. And it's interesting. A lot of what you see in the world actually is not ever explicitly told that it's part of the story, but there are some things that tie in if you know them or have someone tell you. There's a few things that I just didn't recognize, and it's like, oh, that's what it is. Ah, right, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And there's some biblical stuff going on as well, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Don't know how much it costs normally, but I'm not sure how much of a price you can put on an experience of that length. It's hard to tell, but don't know.
Whatever they charge, I'm sure it's not too much.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it was in a humble bundle seems like the right place for something like that, I think. Same with Proteus, really. It's a very similar experience. You're just walking around, in a way, you're just walking around an island.
There is almost gameplay.
There is almost gameplay. There is a way to progress in that game that you kind of have to figure out.
Yeah. You have to do things.
It's not just
Have you played it then, Zach?
Yeah.
It's not just a path that you have to play, but basically it's a musical toy. Is how I would describe that game.
I don't know about musical, really.
Well, everything in the world plays sounds in a musical way. It's like it all ties together. It's like an ambient soundscape, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't call it music. It's an ambient soundscape. That's not really music. Right. Music. It's not
some people would argue that's music, but yeah, it is interesting. Again, I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't play that in 3D. I kind of wanted to try.
I'm sure that was it's a bit pixely for 3D, probably.
It'd be fine. It'd be fine. It would almost make it clearer, I think.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of things that were a bit ridiculously unclear at some points in that game.
Well, yeah, it's because everything's so flat coloured.
Yeah.
It goes for a sort of very lo-fi.
Well, I bet you'd be fucked when you got to the like autumn and winter where there's all those low clouds. You wouldn't be able to do that in 3D.
Why not?
Because when you walk through them, it's like
no, but they part in front of you.
Not they part very close in front of you.
It would look fine. It would look fine. For sure.
Not that you can see anything anyway, so yeah. I guess that was equally bad in 3D as normal. Yeah,
it's a sort of an experience game that because you see things and like you're just like, oh, what's going to happen if I do that? If I go here and then something happens, and you're like, oh, all right, okay.
Sometimes something happens.
Yeah,
sometimes
not all the time.
It's just like you have to sort of memorise the map where the major landmarks are on the island, and then on each season just do a loop to hit all the landmarks.
I found the ending a little weird.
Yeah. The ending came out of nowhere, basically.
Yeah. For a while, I thought I'd glitched the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? What's going on? Oh no, okay, that's supposed to happen. Right, okay.
It's because it looks like a glitch, and it takes a really long time to actually end.
Yeah. So it leaves you wondering, is the problem.
Yeah.
The sort of the computer guy in me sort of goes, what? What? Is this supposed... I'm not...
Like, nothing's happening, I must have fucked it up.
Yeah.
I must have missed a trigger.
What am I supposed to do now?
That's the telltale sign of a real problem is nothing's happening, nothing's changing.
Well, something sort of is, but it's like...
subtle.
Yeah, and it takes a while for you to notice that it's happening, and even once you've noticed it's happening, you're not sure if it's supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, perhaps the ending is the bit that needs work on that, but
especially because like the transition between the seasons and stuff, that's really obvious.
Yeah, and it's really nicely done actually.
Yeah.
I like the when the plants jiggle.
That's the
only way to describe it, really. And then the sound accompaniment that goes with that is pretty cool.
Which plants, though?
But for everything.
What, like the time warp?
Well, kind of. It would jiggle when you're approaching the seasonal area.
Yeah.
And it would do that sort of without, time wouldn't be speeding up at that point. It's just the plants would sort of almost go, hey, samba.
Samba plants.
Yeah. All right, yeah. They're kind of cool experiences, but I'm not sure I really want to go back to them after doing them once.
The only thing with Proteus is it supposedly is randomly generated.
Yeah, so you can go back and...
not sure whether there is, more stuff than we'll generate on one island.
Oh, so
there
you
is
mean
a possibility for there to be actually new things.
What, you mean that we missed some stuff?
Yeah, it might not just be different positions. There might actually be more things
one
than
of the things that unlocks after your first playthrough is the option to set the island to be wilder, as they describe it, which I think makes just the randomization more frequent, perhaps a little more extreme in terms of elevation and items and how they alter, I guess.
Yep.
So maybe that would be interesting to try, but it's a tiny, tiny game, so it's like less than 100 megs, so it's like I don't mind having that sit around for a while until perhaps I want to go and try that.
You don't need the hard disk space.
I know, it's too little to care about. Yeah, so that was alright. Trying to think what else I actually did in the last couple of weeks. I think I've been mostly finishing Dust, to be honest. I did start playing Magic 2013.
Oh, yeah?
On the PC.
2014's going out soon.
It's already out.
And it's got, new shit, sealed deck tournament shit.
I'm confused about how the fuck that works.
Well, you literally...
Yeah, I know, but I've heard mixed messages about how that system works.
I saw a video, so I kind of seen it.
Well, some people have said that it makes sense the first time you do it. Where the message seems to get confused is what happens after the first time you unseal.
Right.
As in, can you unseal? Or can you start again? And it's like, yes, you can, but you have to pay us to do so. Seems to be what the route is. Because I know the microtransaction stuff in the 2012, the one I played on the Xbox, seemed a little a little expensive and a little
Magic is expensive.
and a little really really irritating.
Yeah.
And I think I had a glitch in my copy of 2012 on the Xbox where it would say I was unlocking cards, but then I couldn't use them. And it's like, what do you mean by unlocked then? If I can't do that, which doesn't seem to be happening on my PC run through of 2013.
Cool.
You unlock cards, and I can actually put them in the deck if I want to. So it's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Cool.
I definitely prefer playing it on a PC interface. I definitely prefer playing it with 1080p graphics.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a couple of control issues, I have to say. Like, there's the sort of standard now where if something is like the card, for instance, sort of takes up a portion of the screen, there's a sort of thing where if you click outside like a light box or a dialogue that you get rid of it.
Yeah.
No, that will fuck you up.
Yeah.
You click the card, and sometimes that can be the same as pressing the A button to do the action on the card or to play it. And it's like you've got to be a little careful about that one.
Do you press escape or?
Yeah, you have to, or mouse wheel to zoom it out.
Wheel,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Be careful.
That screwed me up a couple of times.
Lightbox convention. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of UI things, but otherwise it plays out quite well. And I noticed they've added a couple more options for advanced players, so the game doesn't do quite so much for you. Because there's a couple of moments where some of the decisions it would make for you in the previous one were a little. Oh no! I didn't want to do that. Yeah. I wanted it to play out like this, like assigning damage to blockers.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 2012 was all automatic as to who it assigned it to, whereas you now have control of that. Like, well, you sort of have control of that. You can assign who you block first.
Yeah, order.
Order of blocking.
I think that's how it works in the rules.
Right, so you can't just dish out, I'm blocking so much damage from you and so much damage from you.
Well, it's because there used to be special cards for that, didn't there, where you could distribute the actual damage how you want it,
as opposed to in order. Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but as I say, I don't think that was in 2012, and as an addition, that's pretty nice for the creature-orientated combat they're going for in the core sets.
Yeah.
There's a couple of. Obviously, it's the extended 2013 core, so there's more cards in it than the 2012 one. There's pretty much. I think it's got pretty much all of the 2012 stuff and then some in the 2013 set. So there's a lot of recurring stuff that you would have seen before, but
it would be interesting to see some Timmy decks being played in that game. In the PC. Or
I guess, yeah.
Just to see how it would work, or if it even would, if the engine stands up to crazy combo decks with no creatures and shit.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I reckon it could. There's no reason why it couldn't do it.
That would be fun.
Perhaps the strategies you need to use in that game aren't quite varied enough. Maybe.
Yeah.
In this version anyway. I'm not sure the deck sets you get to use actually allow you to build decks.
No, you wouldn't be able to do that.
No, not in the sets that they restrict you to.
Yeah. And has it still got the puzzle mode thing? I always enjoyed that.
It does still have the challenges, and it has this new thing called encounters, which so far the ones I've played have just been, the enemy is just going to keep playing the same card every turn. They have an unlimited number of this card, so they're not bound by the 4-card limit.
Right.
So they'll keep playing a certain creature of a certain type every turn, and then you have to deal with it and defeat them in a normal way. But it's what's coming.
Oh, weird. Okay.
But so far that's how they've played out. And it's made it sound like in the tutorial thing that perhaps there will be sequences of cards at some point, but it's always a fixed sequence, as in your opponent will always play the same way. So you have to come up with a strategy to tackle that, rather than the one-off do everything in one turn challenges which you had from the previous game, which are also back, but I found those really hard.
Some of them are hard. Game. They're little puzzles,
especially the arch enemy stuff in the previous game. I found those really difficult.
Were there puzzles with the arch enemy?
There were arch enemy puzzles.
Oh,
in
I didn't get that
far. Arch enemy's not in this.
Oh, cool. Because I wasn't that big fan of arch enemy.
I think in this one they favour two-headed giant. I
like two-headed giant in general.
Yeah,
that's one of the funnest ways to play Magic.
It's pretty cool.
I think is two-headed giant.
So I quite like it. As I say, I've only touched it for a little bit.
Can you play a two-headed giant? Can you team up against?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah,
sweet.
I don't know if you can do it against AI.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I didn't really dive into the multiplayer aspects of the Xbox one, but whether or not you could play arch enemy, say, with certain number of human players and the AI takes over the rest, I'm not sure. Mm. But I'd be surprised if you couldn't.
Mm. Anyway.
Yeah. So playing that seems alright.
Cool.
Seems quite cool. It doesn't. bugbear from the first game that still isn't fixed. It doesn't explain all the mechanics.
No.
There are some things that are on some of the cards that are new relatively from when we were playing Magic, I guess, in card form, that I haven't been asked to go and look up. Yeah, keywords and certain mechanics like bloodthirst or something, isn't it? Or stuff like that were kind of key in the last one, that just bump up some creatures randomly, and I couldn't figure out what the rule was for it. And it's like the game doesn't tell you.
Yeah, it needs a little
they haven't expanded they have that advanced help screen that does explain some of those mechanics to you, but there's just not enough of them. And it's a bit of a letdown. So unless it comes up perhaps at some point during the game that I'll get a card and one of those tips will come up saying what it actually
generally
does.
How, because there's only so many keywords per set. Yeah. And generally the common ones have the explanation because they have enough room, because they don't have much. Oh yeah,
but I think even not many of the cards actually have that in the game, but they will pop up a little dialogue tooltip that will sort of say, "Hey, this card does this."
Right. Okay.
And you can choose to dismiss or never tell me again, kind of thing. So I wonder if some of those mechanics will have tooltips now, but they still don't have a proper help page, which is irritating.
Yeah.
Failure on your part. But, I should probably just go wiki that shit.
Yeah.
Which I never did in the first place. But it's always I feel like I shouldn't, because the game's... It's not... I don't feel like it's an accurate review of the game, maybe, if I'm...
Fair enough.
If I'm learning about the mechanics that the gamer doesn't tell me about. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair, but... I don't know. Cool. So I'm going to... I'm thinking my next game to start is probably going to be Infamous.
Cool. It'd be interesting to see.
Get my first one.
You might go through the whole series of that at some point.
But if I like the first one, then maybe I will move up.
There's two, and there's that stupid Second Son thing. Yeah.
Which is the third game in the series for some reason.
Yeah.
Second, third.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm done.
Zeg, your turn.
Oh no! Wait, Surgeon Simulator.
Oh, you guys!
I played through all of Surgeon Simulator on a live stream with Kippers. You should probably watch that.
Oh, I shall check that out. I saw that
it's a funny game.
I saw there's a spin-off like a British cup of tea making simulator.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, awesome!
So that sounds quite hard to do.
It's a funny game. It's like Kippers was comparing it to Quap. Because it's like
it's like Quap,
hard controls to do something
simple
that is actually technically simple, but it's that just when you think it's bad, some of the extra stuff it then has you do that. Oh, it's just insane.
Cool,
but a lot of fun. But you can finish it really quickly, and I don't really have a desire to go and do it again.
Right. So check that out on. It's in the Steam sale as well.
Yeah, it's in the Steam sale. As I say, go check out the stream we did.
If you go to happysalad.net, then it's available.
It's a couple of posts down.
At the moment. It's not on YouTube, but it is on Twitch.
It is on Twitch if you go to DJ Kipling's channel.
Cool. I played a little bit of Deus Ex Human Revolution. I started a new game on that. And
right.
It's like,
really?
The gameplay on that is good, but the dialogue is terrible. It's like the writing is just bad. That's my main thing coming back to it. Is like, this gameplay was pretty good. Yeah, exactly. I didn't ask for this. It's like, oh god, every bit of dialogue somehow, and it's not like the dialogue in the original Deus Ex. Like there was tons of it, and it was clunky in places.
Well, that was also because the voice acting was bad.
And the voice acting was. It was bad, but it wasn't boring. At least it was just like dumb, like
and like monotone everything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
JC Denton has no emotions.
Yeah, JC Denton, but that was kind of cool. Like JC Denton is somehow a lot cooler than the new guy.
Yeah,
I can't even remember the guy's name in the Human Revolution. I don't really care to either.
No.
With his ridiculous, always. Adam, yeah, and he's always folding his fucking arms together like this, like with his like giant shoulders.
Robo arms.
Yeah, robo arms. He's constantly like I noticed it loads. I only played a little bit of the game, and like whenever he's talking to anyone, he just occasionally just looks at them and like folds his arms, and he's like standing up, so it looks really weird. And And he has that ridiculous, like, flowery pattern on his leather shoulders. It's like, you pods.
They failed to replicate in the real one they sold.
Really?
Yeah, they sold a real trench coat, but it didn't actually have the pattern. It's like
That was the whole deal.
So that's why anyone would want to buy that.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's just a trench coat.
But yeah, and I was going for a stealth avoid everyone, and that was a lot of fun actually. I think what I used to do in Deus Ex and in a lot of stealth games like Splinter Cell is I will try and if I'm going non-lethal, I will still try and incapacitate everyone. So I'm like, oh okay, everyone's down,
so you can be safe.
Yeah, but this time I was just I'll just avoid everyone, and that worked surprisingly well, and was.
There are certain scenes where you can't do that. Though,
yeah, of course, sometimes, but I think that first mission, you can do the whole thing without being seen. Yeah.
I can't remember what the first mission is like.
It's not. There's some crazy French terrorist dude or whatever who takes a human hostage at the end. Or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So you have to talk to him or whatever. But yeah, it's just a warehouse.
Isn't there a whole room of people and there's a gas bomb or something?
Yeah. Well, they
never patrol inside that room.
No. So you can just sneak up there. You can turn off the bomb.
Classic maneuver.
And then you can just wander off. And and you're like, I reassure you all, you're definitely safe now. And everyone's still, all the guards are still there underneath. And it's like, right, I'm off now.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Just wait here.
Yeah, exactly. Wait for the police to come and murder everyone.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, I don't know why I felt like playing that, but yeah, it's a shame about the dialogue and the kind of storyness about it, because the gameplay was pretty nicely done, and the style, like the visual style, it's pretty nice. So
it's quite unique.
Yeah, I think, and it's got all that crazy upgrade stuff, and I was already thinking, oh, how am I going to spec my dude and all that shit, and it's just like, oh, the talk to these idiots. Anyway, so that's Deus Ex. Right, Zig.
I never thought the acting actually in the first game was that great.
Oh, it wasn't great.
Apart from some of the key characters, but
it was dumb.
Yeah, it was almost knowingly dumb in places.
I can remember the names of minor characters in the original Deus Ex, probably because I've played it too many times.
Yeah,
I know the stupid story of Sandra Renton or whatever, and the JoJo.
Well, you played that bit way too many times because that was just at the start of the game.
Yeah, and it's these dumb characters, but I still remember everything. Whereas this one, I don't know. I don't even really care about what's her face, the helicopter pilot, who's she's
dramatic death.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not even as cool as Josh from the first game or whatever. It was like, oh my god, JC, a bomb!
Sufficiently Scottish.
Yeah, exactly. They were, and there was the stupid reporter dude, and all in the first game, wasn't there? That was always trying to get a story and shit, wasn't there? What was his name? I can't remember. Anyway,
yeah,
there's all kinds of dumb characters that were somehow memorable, and yet in this one, don't remember any of them. Anyway, except for Tracer Tong's brother or something, or uncle or something.
Distant relation.
I don't know. Anyway. God.
So they essentially nailed the main gameplay, but
I think so.
But actually kind of forgot some of the other stuff that's. Well, I don't know. By the sounds of it, the story elements and the characters, surely in a game like that, are actually really quite vital.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
To giving it soul, I suppose.
Yeah, they didn't convince me with their story.
And then, of course, right at the end, they screwed it on even more.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't going that
well.
What
little
anyway.
Story they had, at the end, they were just like, fuck it.
That's correct. Yeah, I don't know. But it's annoying because you could tell they really believed in their story or whatever. They really loved it, and they thought it was brilliant. And it's like, no, it's just a bit like B standard. I don't know.
Damn it! It is that B for game story standard as well, which is pretty low.
B for Deus Ex standard, anyway.
You're comparing the same Deus Ex to that. I think that goes up a notch, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. I don't know, the story in that might have been okay. For all I know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Freaking greasels.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Sack's dead.
Woo.
You have 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. That's probably going to be plenty. Because I haven't really played much new.
Cool.
I played a goddamn ton more of Rogue Legacy.
I saw your quick look at that, or whatever you call it, video thing.
Video thing.
Although, I realised that we call them video things because not to call them quick looks. And then
And
I saw something on
they-
Giant Bomb called a video thing.
Well, they
That's how
originally
they started,
they
yeah.
originally called them video things.
Oh, did they? Okay.
They're like their earliest ones were like video things, but then they were like, "We need to come up with you lame quick look," and then they were like, "Okay, that's good enough."
That is good enough.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So now we just use video thing.
Yeah, we've stolen it.
I like that on YouTube you just say gameplay because that's what anyone ever searches for. So it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like in terms of search engine
So what I want to see,
optimization.
I want to see Rogue Legacy gameplay. Done.
Done.
You don't say video things.
No.
You want to see some video things.
I want a video
It's just
thing.
our way of categorising it, basically.
I wonder how many people search for video on YouTube. Like, I want a video
Yeah.
of the.
That would be really funny.
Well, I guess theoretically,
Wonder what would
you
happen.
could search into just Google, and it would bring up
Yeah.
YouTube results if you had video.
It would,
something,
yeah.
something.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
That works.
That's true.
So yeah, I played tons more of that because it's awesome, and also because it gets ridiculous once you get past the first. It has like New Game Plus or whatever,
Oh no!
but
How many stages are there? Like I saw your castle and forest.
well, yeah, there's like 4 areas.
Right.
So, like the castle, the tower, the forest, and the dungeon. So there's one boss in each of those, and then the
Oh, I see.
actual final boss.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, so I was playing that some more, and I finished the regular story. And actually, the last boss is kind of disappointing in a way because it was actually well easy. Well, it's like it's a 2-stage boss, predictably.
Yeah.
And like the first half of it is probably harder than the second half. So
Okay.
like the final boss was actually piss easy compared to the one just slightly before it.
Right.
So that was sort of disappointing.
Well, that kind of happens sometimes. Like even Ganon is kind of like that. Ganon is worse than the.
Ganondorf.
Oh, Ganondorf is worse than Ganon, really, isn't it? Because Ganon is just a giant thing that you just
Avoid,
slash in
yeah.
the- avoid and slash in the tail. Whereas Ganondorf like fires projectiles and you have to time the shit and
Yeah.
everything. Anyway,
He has moves.
yeah, he's got skills.
So yeah, then when you play into New Game Plus of this, it gets kind of crazy because basically all the enemies just get upgraded. Because each enemy basically has 3 different forms that get progressively more difficult. And then in like the first run, you'll only see like the 3rd level of them, like almost as mini bosses in some rooms. But not actually mini bosses, because there's also mini bosses. It's like mini bosses guarding a singular chest rather than
Right.
special mini bosses that generally guard a better chest.
Uh-huh.
But then when you go into New Game Plus and then subsequent New Game Double Plus, it's like they just get upgraded. So by the time you're in New Game Double Plus, it's like every enemy is at level 3, at its level 3 version.
Right.
So it just gets crazy. It's just like, it just basically turns into a bullet hell, only it's a platform.
Yeah.
Which is kind of awesome in a way.
Oh, I forgot about something I should talk
Yeah,
about.
you should.
Yeah,
So we'll talk about that in a minute.
yeah, I'll let you carry on.
But
Cinema.
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah. So I'm now I've opened the final boss room on New Game Double Plus, but I haven't done that yet because basically there's an achievement for unlocking all the blueprints. And the only way you get blueprints is by killing the mini bosses.
Hmm.
But typically, like every run, you'll probably only see 1 or 2 of the mini bosses. And I don't want to finish New Game Double Plus because
Yeah.
then all the enemies will get harder again.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm just running around farming the mini bosses to get the last blueprints. Although I'm not sure, but I think it might have screwed up and not given me the achievement for unlocking all of the upgrades to the castle.
Oh.
Because I finished all the castle trees, so I am now maximum everything I can possibly have generic stat upgrades. But it didn't seem to give me the achievement. Maybe that will just pop next time I start up the game or something.
Hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would suck otherwise. I'll have to delete the save and start over. Grind through the whole goddamn thing again. But yeah, I'm making so much money. I was making so much money practically every run in New Game Plus and the second Double Plus. It was just like I was making so much money, those castle upgrades didn't take very long to unlock any longer.
Cool.
But yeah, so I got pretty good at that. And dodged my way through everything. Bullets. Lots of bullets. And also there was like something that I didn't really realise was one of the class abilities. You have the Barbarian King has the ridiculous shout that knocks everything back.
Mm.
And I'd seen people saying that was like super essential for the 3rd boss, and I was like, I don't see why, because it didn't seem like it was going to do anything to that specific boss. But then I realised that what it actually also does is the Barbarian shout also destroys quite a lot of projectiles of certain types. Like the
so
fireballs.
like a shield against bullets.
Yeah.
Hell.
So one of the 3rd boss basically, it follows you around and tries to ram you, but it also leaves a persistent fire trail. So if you have the Barbarian King, you just erase that trail theoretically if it's getting in the way.
Ah, that boss.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah, you showed me that. Oh, I saw it on your
On my other stream.
stream. Yeah.
But I don't think that boss is that hard anyway, even without that, because it's not that hard to avoid those fireballs, and apart from that, there's not really anything else going on. You just have to time your attacks to when you can sneak in a hit before you dodge out of the way. And yeah, most of the classes become pointless after a certain point. All you want is either by Barbarian King for the ridiculous amount of health, or Paladin for the quite a lot of health and blocking ability.
Yeah.
All the weaker classes like mages and the assassins who do lots of damage but don't have much health themselves, it's not really so helpful when you're having to cope with that much
Stuff,
bullets. Yeah. And even the once the enemies upgrade a couple of times with the assassins and stuff, you're still not doing enough damage to really one-shot or two-hit anything. You're still having to swing 3 times, and then that's just as much as it takes with the classes with high health, so it's not really a bonus any longer. So yeah, that's that. Maybe I'll get those last 3 achievements. Or 2 achievements, because I should already have one of them. And then I also played Dust, as we said, and then I also played quite a lot more Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing, and just those really, on the 3DS.
Your 3DS games. Yeah.
Grinding out more Animal Crossing stuff, not really much has been happening. I'm building a cafe now.
A cafe?
Cafe. And the nightclub still hasn't opened yet. Apparently that takes quite a long time. I gave them planning permission, or whatever you do. I guess. You go around town and get some signatures, and everyone's super enthusiastic, even though
let's have a nightclub.
It's like you get the guy who's going to build the nightclub turns up outside your house, and you go out there and you talk to him, and he's like, I want to build a nightclub in your town, but people might be pissed because it's too noisy or whatever, so take this petition and we'll get signatures.
And everyone's like, woo!
Yeah, and everyone you talk to is just like, yeah, nightclub! None of my town people actually seem to care about the noise implications.
Maybe they'll be eating their words.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
I'll start complaining.
So yeah, I did that. That hasn't appeared yet, and the cafe isn't done yet, so not really anything's changed in my town as such. The museum upgrade happened, but that's not really important. That you get a fancy silver net and silver fishing rod, which aren't actually improved at all, they just look fancy. Which is a shame, because I was hoping for, upgrades. Because apparently the silver watering can and the gold watering can actually is they water more squares at once.
Oh, cool.
Because there's such a pain in the ass in my town at the moment, because just all the goddamn flowers water each individual square as you walk along this line of flowers. And I've specifically rearranged all my flowers, and they're just in, a big cube, so I can just do it much quicker.
Oh, dear.
Real ugly, but much more efficient. And then Fire Emblem, I still haven't finished that. I think I'm probably on the second to last mission. And I've done all the side missions now, so I've got all the future children or whatever. And I also realised, I sort of realised, but also when I was looking up a fact, it's actually really weird, because you can do some things with the idea of marrying units, and then the future, you basically, as soon as the 2 units get to S rank and they marry, then the mission to get their future child appears, because the children came back in time because of story,
right?
because of reasons.
Yeah.
But because of that, you can do some really weird things, because your main character, for some reason, I'm not really sure why they decided to do this, but your main character can also get to S rank with all of the future children. And then when you get to S rank with one of the future children, then your child appears. And it's that doesn't make any sense. That's a huge time paradox. It's this child from the future came back in time and married you, and then you've got another child from the future who also knows them because they know each other in the future. But it's not. That can't be. No, that can't be right.
That doesn't sound right.
So yeah, that was very hilarious. But I got all those children, and they're all ludicrously overpowered. Because they're basically, their stat growth is based on a combination of their parents' stat growth. And you pass down whatever, one skill from each parent as well, so you can even more make it ridiculous.
Can you choose what skills to get passed down?
Yeah, you just choose one of the, and that was also why I did quite a lot of grinding, because basically, the base classes unlock a skill immediately and at level 10, and then the advanced classes unlock a skill at level 5 and level 15. Mm-hmm. So I was basically getting all the parents up to level 15 so I could see what their final skill was for their second class. So they all had at least 6, whatever, a number of skills. So they all had the skills from the classes that I thought were appropriate, so I could see what they were. But then, of course, that sucks when you get, well, like, you've grinded a class all the way up to 15, and it turns out that their level 15 skill is dumb. Or not something you want to pass down to their child.
Mm.
So yeah, I did that. So I have this huge team of people. It's like, after I complained about there not being enough units, now there's way too many. But that's fine.
So you could have perhaps suffered a couple of permadeaths?
Well, the trouble with that idea is that if like, there'd be a point where I wouldn't have all these future children because then their parents would be dead.
Yeah, so they would never have happened.
Yeah.
How does that work if one of your parents dies now?
That's what I was wondering.
Does it do the whole time?
Like, is there a time paradox?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, because especially like one of the support conversations between one of the parents and children is like, if you're unfaithful to your wife, then I'll disappear because obviously that means your marriage will break down. And it's like, will that happen? Is it possible? What if they die? I think maybe, as far as from what I read on one site, is that maybe once the children exist in the world, the mother gets the same protection that you get in casual, where like if they die in battle, they don't actually die, and then they just reappear at the end of the fight.
Okay.
Because the mother is the only one that's important.
Mm.
Because of the way this works, it's like the children are always linked to the mother, so it doesn't matter what father you pair with the mother, it'll always be the same child. You just get different stats depending on the father, and the hair colour of the father is passed on. That's the only thing.
Always the father.
Yep.
That's mysterious genetics.
So yeah, that's that. I'm going to finish it probably. Last mission. This next mission that I'm on doesn't look too bad. Or I've got to the point where I don't think it looks bad. Because, like I said before, I got to the point where I didn't know whether I was powerful or not any longer.
Mm.
And now I think I probably am.
I am powerful.
And then when I look at this map for just like a whole ton of enemies, I'm just like, search for the one little bit of landscape where I can just have everyone stand there and take it.
Yeah. Make your defense ring.
Yep. Form a defensive line and then just stand there and wait for all the enemies to just bump against you. Particularly when you know that the enemy commander doesn't move, because you can look at them and be like, oh, he doesn't have a move stat, which means he's just going to stand there, which means that this level doesn't end until I actually go up there and kill him. So I can just stand here and wait for all the enemies to come to me.
It is weird that. It does sound like very little strategy in this, in a way.
Yeah.
Or at least the strategy doesn't change level to level.
It's like they needed to do something. I mean, there was one level where you have to keep moving because basically the floor becomes lava behind you.
Oh,
so, like, parts of the map progressively become areas where you get damaged if you're standing on them.
Mm.
But even then, that kind of didn't, because there was still, like, the little section of the map would change to lava, except for one square. Because I guess they had to give you an out so that if you weren't doing it fast enough, you didn't all just stand in lava and die. Because that would be evil.
Well, but why not? That's the nature of the level, surely.
Well, yeah, I guess, but they decided not to. But yeah, there wasn't really any other levels like that, or levels where you had to.
I suppose the game doesn't really have failing missions, does it? Really?
No, you can't. Like, if you fail, that's it. there's no way to progress after a mission fails.
Mm.
It's not like they're just generic get cash missions or whatever.
No,
they're all story. Apart from when it's randomly spawning enemies, in which case I guess you could fail those, but
everyone would be dead.
Yeah, but then there wouldn't be any reason to just start over. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm.
Next time will be all the stuff off the Steam sale, probably.
What are you planning
all
to buy?
The stuff.
What's on your wish list?
There's quite a few things on my wish list that I might end up buying because they're all really cheap indie stuff, really.
Yeah.
So a bunch of like £5 and £3 things,
which will be £1.75 or whatever.
Exactly.
I already bought Hotline Miami, so I'm looking forward to that.
I got Dark Souls, but I'm not sure whether I'll actually get around to play that. But I wanted it in my list.
It does sound a bit like your kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was what was the other thing that I bought? Shit. Oh, I bought Fez, but
yeah,
that's just I have it. Not really to play that again yet. That needs a few more like months or years before I forget some things or something.
Fair dues. Rob?
I don't really know what I'm really interested in from the sale. Maybe. It's like, I'm not sure I'm really that enthused about anything that's there excessively enough for me to care too much. I mean, I may pick up Bioshock Infinite, and that may be my one thing.
Yeah. That's worth buying, whether you buy it now or later.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of stuff, on my backlog already. That stuff that I do actually want to play, and it's like I'm not sure anything that comes up really goes above that list at this point. So it's
Last of Us, for example.
Start and keeping it to the Steam sale only. I'm not really sure there's anything on there that
needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Because I've still got Crisis 2 and Binary Domain and Sonic Transformed and all that stuff to do that I kind of want to do. So it's.
I don't think it's not going to happen because it only just came out, but the cheapest possible combination of things where I can get Civ 5 and Brave New World all together.
Yeah.
Don't know what that combo is. But if Brave New World gets...
Wait until the end of the year. Wait for the Christmas sale.
Wait for the Christmas sale for that one. Yeah, I've got XCOM in the meantime, which I just bought, so...
I should just get given a spare copy of Binding of Isaac from Kiffers, so that might keep me busy as well. But
indeed.
Don't need to buy that out.
For like £1, as it always is.
Yeah, 60p I think it was at one point.
We have reached the end of this podcast.
Yeah,
I think.
So we can open some goddamn windows.
Yes, it's too damn hot.
It got warmer today.
Jesus.
It's going to be hot for a while yet, I expect.
Well, we're going out after this.
Yes, let's get out and cool down.
Let's get burged.
Hope you enjoy this podcast. Stay cool, listeners, literally, as well as figuratively.
Yes.
And catch you next time.
Top tip, stay cool.
See you guys.
We've got plenty of time to say bye.
Bye.
Wash out.
Wash out.
Wash.